Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I'm in One Piece, almost exposed that I am better than Roger. Chapter 1. Without revealing strength in the first year, reward conquerors Haki. The second year did not reveal the strength, reward Zanpakuto. Without revealing strength in the third year, reward 8 inner gates. In Logue Town, located in East Blue, it is the entrance to the Grand Line. Suo Luo finished the day's work, clocked in and went home to rest, and at the same time glanced at his little assistant. In another 3 months, he will be rewarded for the 10th year of hidden strength. Rinnegan. As one of the traversers of the vast army, Suo Luo naturally knows how strong Rinnegan is. As long as you stay for another 3 months, you can get this powerful pupil technique. In order to better hide himself, Suo Luo chose to become a seaman, living in a Logue town with few pirates. With the umbrella of smoker, live a leisurely life. As a result, he was pushed to the position of Sao Chong based on his several years of qualifications. As for why Suo Luo didn't choose to be an ordinary civilian, or find an uninhabited island to hide. Of course, the quality of life is a problem. Joining Marine does not say that there are 5 social insurances and 1 housing fund, but the benefits are not bad. The convenience of modern life is also a very important consideration. Because of the relationship between the traversers, Suo Luo has always been confused and confident about the treatment within the system. That's a civil servant. On the other hand, Suo Luo is not so much eager. It is better to say that his character is that of an ordinary person. He doesn't say any bloody big words, and he doesn't think about how to save the world all day long. There will be no strange thoughts that the greater the ability and the greater the responsibility. He has neither dreams nor ambitious goals. He just wants to live a quiet life and be a salted fish. Bolu Bolu. Just when Suo Luo walked home as usual, his phone worm suddenly rang. Keep crying. It's an emergency communication. Suo Luo thought for a while and chose to answer. After all, this kind of emergency communication is rare in Logue Town for 10 years. An urgent voice came from the phone worm. Suo Luo Sao Chong, Luffy, who is offering a reward of 30 million yuan, appeared in Logue Town. Well, I get it. Suo Luo nodded lazily, and then hung up. Except for the name Luffy, which made his eyes light up. As for the other content, what does it have to do with yourself? I'm off work at some point. Luffy or something, let Smoker. Smoker, who is in charge of public security here, is now running wildly on the street. The target is Luffy, who caused the riots in Logue Town. Boy with straw hat, do you think you can escape from me? Give up struggling. Smoker yelled at Luffy and Sanji in front. He was faintly disturbed. The reason is not because Luffy was offered a reward for the first time. The bounty exceeded 30 million berry, making him a famous pirate in East Blue. But when he was about to be executed, he died with a smile. This reminds Smoker of the One Piece Roger who was executed 22 years ago. The same as smiling to death. And in just a few words, it triggered the era of the great pirates. Who would stop at this time? Luffy yelled without looking back, I want to be the man of One Piece, so I won't be caught by you, Yan Man. It won't work like this. As the Straw Hat Pirates, the resourceful general, Sanji frowned. Smoker is a Logia fruit-capable person. The weapon in his hand is made of sea stone with 10 hands. It has a certain degree of restraint on Luffy. If they can defeat Smoker, they won't be chased all the way. Even Smoker's delay in catching up with them made Sanji surprised. Combined with Smoker, it has the title of White Hunter. This guy is probably trying to consume our physical strength before making a move. In the hunting process, this is a very common method. When the prey is tired, the hunter chooses to take action and can easily kill the prey. Sanji, who was in charge of the brain, began to think to himself. But if you run to the Golden Mary like this, not only will you not be able to get rid of Smoker, but it may also bring danger to Nami. Sanji, who believes in the spirit of chivalry, cannot allow this to happen. After thinking about it, Sanji decided to act separately. No matter how powerful Smoker is, it is impossible to hunt down 2 people at the same time. And Luffy is the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates. As a crew member, Sanji firmly believes in his heart that he will not be caught. Well, I see, then we will meet at the melee. Luffy nodded, then threw his arm out, extending it indefinitely, and grabbed the sign on the side of the street. Without saying a word, Sanji stopped suddenly, turned and ran towards the other street. Next second, Luffy used his rubber abilities and ejected himself, leaving Smoker far behind. Want to escape separately, Smoker muttered to himself, but he cared more about Luffy than Sanji. So Smoker made a gesture and asked others to chase Sanji, while he turned into a cloud of smoke and continued to chase Luffy. Boy with a straw hat, you can't run away, Smoker roared firmly. At the same time, Luffy pushed Smoker 3 or 4 streets away. Thinking of throwing Smoker further away, he rushed to the Mary. But the riots caused by Luffy this time were too serious. In addition to Smoker and his Marines, the police in Logetown and the Buggy pirates were all looking for Luffy. Even without Smoker, enemies can be seen everywhere. Straw Hat, it's that Straw Hat, grab him. Don't let him run away. Call Colonel Smoker, Luffy and Straw Hat is here. Soon another group of Marines found Luffy. These seamen have a clear division of labor. The attacker starts to attack, and the one who contacts Smoker starts to contact Smoker. I won't let you succeed. Upon seeing this, Luffy simply grabbed a fist with 5 fingers, aimed at the communication device in the hand of one of the Marines, and threw his fist over. Bang! After a muffled sound, the communication equipment in this Marine's hand fell to pieces. Unable to contact Smoker, Luffy smiled brightly. It is this kind of adventure that he yearns for. I'm going to the Grand Line. I am the man who wants to be the One Piece. No one can stop me. Call out. At the end of the sentence, Luffy kicked his feet hard and jumped up, bending his body backwards, clenching his fists with both hands, accumulating strength. Rubber rubber. Machine gun. I saw Luffy quickly swinging his fists, as if countless afterimages appeared. Dozens of fists rushed into the Marine team, flying these people easily. All spikes. But Luffy's sudden shot also attracted the attention of other Marines and police. Click. Luffy landed quickly, holding down the straw hat that was almost flying out with his hands. How come there are so many Marines? Luffy couldn't help but complain, looked around, and quickly found a narrow alley. Only the width that 5 people can walk side by side. Here, Luffy talked to himself and ran away. Although all the seamen and policemen encountered along the way were easily beaten by Luffy, the number of people chasing Luffy has not decreased, but more and more. There is Marine again. Suddenly, just when Luffy was about to cross this alley, a black-haired man in Marine Sao Chang's uniform caught Luffy's eyes. And the man quickly noticed Luffy. The two sides face each other. It is Suo Luo. Luffy looked up and down the Marine. He was taller than himself, with sword eyebrows and starry eyes, fresh and handsome, with a slender samurai sword hanging from his waist. Seeing his first reaction, Luffy was sure that this Marine came to catch him. Suo Luo also recognized Luffy. And his first reaction when he saw Luffy was to mutter to himself, "What is the situation? Shouldn't Luffy be caught by Smoker at this time?" Noting the weather changes, Suo Luo introduced a general plot development. Do you want to block my way? Don't try to succeed. I want to be the man of One Piece. However, Luffy didn't give Suo Luo a chance to speak at all. He shook his arm and extended it toward another exit. Rubber rubber. Pistol. I saw Luffy swing towards Suo Luo using the reaction force of the rubber expansion and contraction. Bang. With a loud noise, Luffy's fist passed Suo Luo's shoulders and hit the building on the side. The smoke spread out to the surroundings, leaving a spider web-like crack on it. Luffy's arm shrank back, but he was a little surprised. Your own attack was avoided by the other party. Do not. This Marine had predicted his attack path, and then dodged his attack with just a good pass. Easy. That. Just when Luffy felt surprised in his heart, Suo Luo slowly said, I'm off work at some point and I'm about to go home. Can I trouble you to find someone else for a fight? Luffy. Looking at Luffy who appeared in Logetown, Suo Luo realized in his heart that Luffy at this time had completed all the plots in East Blue. Now he is a pirate with a bounty of up to 30 million berry. For other Marines, if they could catch Luffy, it would definitely be a great achievement. However, Suo Luo has no interest. He just wanted to feel at ease in this world. During the 9 years of traveling to the pirate world, he got off work on time every day. Seeing Luffy now, he took the initiative to give up away. Looking at a pair of Suo Luo who couldn't motivate, Luffy had a black line on his face. All the Marines he met along the way were as if they were beaten up. Surround him, chase and intercept him. It was in great contrast with Suo Luo in front of him. What made Luffy feel most incredible was that in the face of his own attack, he casually avoided it. This guy is much stronger than those Marines, Luffy thought to himself. If it were not for this kind of strong contrast, Luffy might have really passed Suo Luo. However, although Luffy usually looks carefree and silly, but when it comes to fighting, his keen intuition is like a fighting genius. I understand, this guy wanted to induce me to relax my vigilance, and then suddenly shot. It must be so. Luffy, who has always been reluctant to think, prejudged Suo Luo's plan at this moment. In that case, then I can only knock you down here. Luffy yelled at Suo Luo, his footsteps suddenly stopped, his hands clenched, rubber rubber. At the same time, the Marines who were pursuing Luffy also arrived in this alley. Found Luffy. Grab him, don't let him run. Contact Colonel Smoker quickly. The Marines talked a lot, but suddenly noticed another man standing at the end of the alley. That person is Suo Luo Sao Chong. No one in the crowd yelled first. Others noticed that Suo Luo was standing alone at the other end of the alley, blocking Luffy's way. In the past 9 years, Suo Luo has never taken the initiative to catch a pirate. When he encounters a pirate who has a bounty of more than 3 million berry at sea, he directly contacted Smoker to deal with it. At most it is the work assigned to Suo Luo, and he will do his best to do it well. Coupled with being gentle, in the Logue Town Marine Army, Suo Luo has a very good reputation although he has no strength. It was with everyone's support that he was elected as Sao Chong. But Suo Luo has no strength, it is everyone's default. He is the mascot of the Logue Town Marine Unit. Sao Chong Suo Luo, run away. That guy is a pirate with a bounty of more than 30 million berry. The Murloc Arlong was defeated by that guy. Seeing Suo Luo resolutely standing in front of Luffy, these Marines shouted. Knowing that he is not the pirate's opponent at all, Suo Luo Sao Chong also stood firmly there. He must want to use his body to delay the pirate and buy time for Colonel Smoker. Knowing that we can't do it, it is precisely because of Suo Luo's justice and Sao Chang's heart. Yes, although Suo Luo Sao Chong is weak and pitiful, his heart of justice is stronger than anyone else. For a time, the Marines began to make up for it. It is certain that Suo Luo Sao Chong is to protect the public order of Logue Town, so he decides to stand in front of Luffy. It has always been the belief that Colonel Smoker helped everyone to establish. For Logue Town, Suo Luo Sao Chong, we are here to support you. Destroy the pirates. The Marines burst out with unprecedented roars, deafening, and attracted the civilians of Logue Town to look here. And this powerful voice naturally reached Luffy and Suo Luo's ears. It's just that Suo Luo is completely confused. There were a lot of question marks in my heart. What are these guys making up for? I didn't mean that, okay. What justice? Guard Logue Town. I just want to go home from this road. Moreover, I remember that Luffy didn't come here. You really want to stop me from going to sea? Luffy's eyebrows tightened, once again convinced that Suo Luo came up with an unexpected attack on himself. Machine gun. In the next second, Luffy held a strong will and swung his slapstick attack at Suo Luo. Each arm stretched out for several meters, and the speed was so fast that afterimages appeared. It seems that there are hundreds of fists swinging at Suo Luo at the same time. Bang, 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 ... The sound of fists banging on the building rang in Suo Luo's ears. Although he has no interest in arresting Luffy, he also doesn't want to be beaten up for nothing. So, Suo Luo dodges Luffy's fists one by one. The walls, glass, and streets of buildings were cracked by Luffy. Suo Luo simply retreated all the way until he retreated into the wide street. As long as it's not a crowded alley, Luffy doesn't need to smash me. Suo Luo muttered to himself. Rubber rubber. Luffy stared at Suo Luo, starting to feel impatient. What the hell is going on in this Logue Town? Smoker first, then Suo Luo. All can dodge their own attacks. For a while, Luffy couldn't help being a little bit up, forgetting that he was running away. Now he just wants to hit Suo Luo with a punch. Bell. Call out. I saw Luffy's neck stretched out to the rear, using the principle of rubber contraction to increase his attack power several times, and hit Suo Luo with one head. This guy, it's endless, isn't it? Suo Luo couldn't help but complain, but suddenly realized that there was a civilian who happened to be passing by behind him. After seeing Luffy's attack, his legs became so weak that he couldn't take a step. If he stepped away at this time, this guy would definitely be hit by Luffy. Although Suo Luo only wants salted fish, he still has some principles in his mind. In a hurry, Suo Luo had to punch the flying man in the head. Just an ordinary punch. It shouldn't reveal my strength. Anyway, Luffy is a rubber fruit capable person, immune to all physical strikes. Just control the strength, block Luffy's attack, and then I will fly backwards. Finally, pretend to faint. This way Luffy shouldn't bother me. Before he could breathe, Suo Luo came up with a plan he thought was perfect, and then took it with ease. A normal punch. Suo Luo let out a low growl, behaving very vigorously, as if he had used all his strength to feed him, and punched Luffy in the face. Boom! A loud noise exploded directly, and the vibration generated by the physical strike directly stirred the air, forming a terrifying air current, spreading out in all directions. Blow every civilian, Marine's clothes. Luffy's facial features were even twisted together and flew out on the spot. Seeing Luffy's facial features sank deep, his neck quickly retracted to its normal size, a mouthful of blood spurted from his mouth, his feet left the ground and flew out. All the Marines were dumbfounded and silent. Watching Luffy's body draw a parabola in the air, he fell heavily to the ground, his eyes turned white, and he passed out on the spot. This pirate who was chased and blocked by them, but could not do anything. Directly killed by Suo Luo in seconds. The weak and sickly Cao Chong, Suo Luo, defeated Luffy. It's a lie. For a moment, the Marines gathered here all looked at Suo Luo, their eyes full of incredible. What's the situation? Luffy was shot by me. Noting everyone's eyes and Luffy who passed out, Suo Luo's brain paused for 0.36 seconds before responding. He frowned quickly, squeezed his facial features into one, put on a painful expression, and pushed his feet hard, causing his body to draw a parabola in the middle of the air and slammed into the cloth stand behind him. Boom! Suo Luo Cao Chong. When Sergeant Katz saw this, he immediately roared and left Luffy aside, and hurried to Suo Luo. A part of the Marines followed closely behind. They have been with Suo Luo for more than 9 years. It has always been clear that Suo Luo is good at clerical work, and his force is not as good as the ordinary seaman first class. Seeing Suo Luo flying upside down like a broken kite, they were also very worried. However, this scene also caused an uproar. Hey, it's a lie, Suo Luo Cao Chong defeated Luffy. I must have had an illusion. How could Suo Luo Cao Chong be Luffy's opponent? He defeated the pirate of the Murloc Arlong. Regarding the name of the Murloc Arlong, none of these seamen is unaware. Luffy, who defeated him, won a bounty of 30 million berry. It is enough to show that Luffy is strong. In addition, Luffy turned Logue Town upside down, which also proved that he is a dangerous man. The police and seamen who were defeated by him were countless. Such a strong man was defeated by Suo Luo. Suo Luo Cao Chong. Soon, a seaman noticed Suo Luo lying in a pile of cloth, took 3 steps and 2 steps, and quickly checked his condition. Other Marines followed suit. Suo Luo Cao Chong, don't you mind? Katz asked Suo Luo about his physical condition with concern, and quickly helped him up. Suo Luo Cao Chong, what is going on? However, more Marines are curious about how Suo Luo killed Luffy in seconds. Instead, Suo Luo has a black line on his face. Luffy. Was it so weak? It shouldn't. He is the protagonist. Suo Luo glanced at Luffy when he got up. Turning his eyes white, lying in the center of the street crouched, the corners of his mouth and the door are full of bloodline. He really passed out. Attracted the civilians on the street to come and watch. As expected of Marine, he finally caught this pirate who made a big fuss in Logue Town. Thanks to Suo Luo Cao Chong. The people in Logue Town recognized Suo Luo and started chanting his name. Suo Luo didn't expect such a scene. According to his plan, he just wanted to fly Luffy out. Because Suo Luo, who wears a traverser, knows very well. Although Luffy hasn't grown up yet, his father dragon is now in Logue Town. And his bounty is more than 5 billion, making him the most dangerous terrorist in the world. Once you get involved with that kind of guy, there will definitely be big troubles. After all, I can't kill the dragon here. Speaking of which, One Piece is not an anime from the tale of the crane. When Luffy went to sea, his strength was one of the best in East Blue, and he defeated Shichibukai Crocodile in Alabasta. And the punch just now, I only used 10% of my strength. Suo Luo couldn't help but complain. Forget it, it's not a question of Luffy's strength right now. Note that the sky is getting darker and darker. Suo Luo's mind cannot help but the image of a dragon emerges. Luffy was knocked out by himself, he would not sit idly by. It's safer to leave as soon as the matter is not serious. As for their own strength, it was all luck to be able to defeat Luffy. Didn't Colonel Smoker fight Luffy before? Additionally, you chased Luffy all the way, and his energy has been exhausted. I'm just the last straw that killed the camel. Suo Luo explained to the Marines present. He defeated Luffy, not because of his strength, but just because of luck. Just picked up Luffy's head. So, the credit for arresting Luffy this time is definitely not mine alone, but belongs to all the seamen and police in Logue Town. Suo Luo said righteously, and these words made the seamen present even more startled. In fact, many of the seamen standing here are not newcomers, especially Sergeant Katz among them. Before coming to Logue Town, he had seen too many taking credit for his subordinates and pushing his own scapegoat to his subordinate marine superiors. The superiors like Suo Luo who give credit to everyone are extremely rare. If it wasn't for his strength to be too weak, with his brilliance, he would definitely leave his own legend on this sea. However, the biggest regret is here. Suo Luo was frail and sick from a young age, lacking the most critical conditions for survival on the sea. Strength. Whenever he thinks of this, Katz feels a pity. If possible, how much he wants to share his power with Suo Luo. Okay, don't worry about me for now. Although I have been weak since I was a child, I won't have any major incidents with this degree of injury. Seeing everyone surrounding him, Suo Luo had no choice but to give orders as Cao Chong. Hurry up and take Luffy back. Anyway, he is a pirate with a bounty of up to 30 million berry. Once you wake up on the way, with your strength, you can't deal with it at all. Contact Colonel Smoker quickly. Such a strong pirate, only Colonel Smoker can deal with him. Suo Luo emphasized seriously. Katz was startled. Haha. Suo Luo smiled bitterly, pressing his arm with one hand. I want to be with you too, but the punch just now hurt me too, so I need to check it as soon as possible. And, Sergeant Katz, it was not me who arrested Luffy, but all the Marines in Logue Town. I believe you can handle this matter properly. Suo Luo did not hesitate to choose to believe in Katz and others, which deeply moved the Marines present. I understand, Suo Luo Cao Chong. Katz turned around and made a gesture, ordering everyone to take Luffy away. However, just when Suo Luo thought that the storm could come to an end and he could go home and rest, not far away came a tall man wearing a green raincoat. The storm also became more violent. Boom! A sudden thunder fell in the sky, and the dazzling light reflected the man's facial features. The tattoo printed on the left face makes each Marine's heart tight. That guy is. Why does that man appear in Logue Town? Sergeant Katz's eyes were round, and he only felt the two mountains pressing on him, and he felt strenuous even the most basic breathing. Immediately afterwards, a powerful aura rolled towards Katz. Let every Marine soldier's legs take root on the ground, and he was so scared that his legs trembled, but he couldn't even turn around and escape. Although the civilians at the scene didn't know who came, they could feel that the atmosphere was becoming weird from Marine's reaction. Captain Buggy, we found Luffy, but several members of the clown pirate group hide in the corner of the street and observe in secret. I wanted to lie in ambush here, and when Luffy resolved that Marine passed by here, he took the opportunity to sneak attack. Unexpectedly, Luffy was defeated by a Marine. And it only took a punch. Scared that they didn't dare to act rashly, they quickly contacted Buggy the clown with a phone worm. Tell the general situation again. Another street. The storm is getting bigger and bigger, coupled with the strength that Smoker has shown. Buggy can't help but hesitate to leave here in the chaos. However, Luffy was knocked out. Buggy frowned slightly. It was not Smoker who defeated Luffy, but a marine sow. According to the man, the reason why he was able to defeat Luffy was not that he was stronger than Luffy. It's just that Luffy doesn't have much energy anymore. He became the last straw that crushed him. And the place where Luffy fell was only 3 blocks away from him. After thinking about it, Buggy decided to take someone there and grab someone from Marine. Kill my uncle like that, I won't let him go. In a short while, Buggy took the elite members of the pirate group to the place where Luffy passed out. However, he didn't take the shot directly, but hid in a safe place to observe. What Buggy didn't expect was that the atmosphere here was extremely depressing. Each seaman stood on the spot, looking in the same direction as if facing a major enemy. They had various weapons in their hands, but their arms trembled. Do these guys know that the uncle is coming, and are shaking with fear? Buggy couldn't help thinking to himself, but he soon realized that things were not that simple. Captain Buggy, look over there. A sharp-eyed pirate quickly reminded Buggy, and pointed his finger at the man that Marine really feared. That person is. Buggy's gaze was attracted. Boom! A shock of thunder fell from the sky, and the sound rolled, deafening. The dazzling thunder light illuminates the entire street, and the facial features hidden under the kabuto hat of the future are revealed. At a glance, Buggy was stunned on the spot. Although there was only a short moment, he would not mistake this man. Buggy, how come your face is so ugly? Alvida frowned. Upon seeing the man's appearance, Buggy's face instantly turned pale, like a dead person. It can't be wrong. That guy is a dragon. Buggy has a low voice, now he understands it thoroughly. Why did those Marines become like that? Why is the atmosphere here so weird? Dragon. On the contrary, he is a member of the Buggy pirate group, who is a little unfamiliar with this name. Seeing that everyone hadn't realized the seriousness of the problem, Buggy quickly explained it. He was identified as the world's most murderous criminal for advocating the revolutionary idea of subverting the world government, and dozens of kingdoms have been overthrown under his leadership. As soon as this remark came out, the audience was in an uproar. The pirates, including Alvida, changed their expressions in shock. Why, such a terrifying man will appear in Logue Town? Do not know. Buggy shook his head quickly, like a rattle. He didn't know why the dragon appeared here, but what he knew was that besides world government, dragons also hate pirates. The revolutionary army under him has guided the civilians to destroy the pirate group that looted property more than once. For example, the Marine fleet, that man must be more terrifying, don't have anything to do with him, we, leave here. Buggy glanced meaningfully at Luffy who was lying on the ground. Although he wanted to execute Luffy very much, he didn't lose his mind yet. Luffy and his own life are heavier, and he still clearly distinguishes them. Even as he left, Buggy couldn't help but flashed a trace of sympathy when looking at Marine. Run into the guy long. Most of it will be destroyed by the group. Maybe, even Luffy will die in the hands of the dragon. Buggy murmured to himself, and ran madly in the other direction with his pirate regiment without looking back. Long continued to step forward and slowly approached Suo Luo and others. Dragon. Suo Luo's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at the dragon that appeared suddenly. He is dressed in a green coat, with red square tattoos on his left face, and his expression is fierce. The height of more than 2 meters makes him full of aura. As a traverser, Suo Luo knew very well why the dragon appeared in Logue Town. It is Luffy's father. The reason Smoker failed to catch Luffy was because of the dragon's intervention. Moreover, his strength is by no means only stronger than Smoker. The son of the marine hero Garp is the immediate enemy of the world government and the leader of the revolutionary army. Although the content of One Piece so far does not reveal the true strength of the dragon and the bounty. However, to be able to stand at that height, it is absolutely impossible to have only thoughts. Even Sabo, who was cultivated by the dragon, has good strength. Although Suo Luo didn't study the dragon's bounty after he traveled into this world, according to his speculation, the bounty of the dragon is only higher than that of the 4 emperors. Even if it is conservatively estimated, the strength of the dragon is at least admiral level. Things are getting more and more troublesome. Suo Luo couldn't help but complain. However, he didn't have the kind of tension that he felt when he was facing an enemy. The dragon is very strong. But he is not very weak. Wait, the purpose of the dragon, just to take Luffy away. Suo Luo's inspiration flashed suddenly. If the dragon takes Luffy away, then he doesn't count as capturing Luffy. The news that he defeated Luffy would also be covered by the appearance of the dragon, and no one paid attention. Like, there is no loss to myself. After all, First didn't join Marine out of a sense of justice. He just took a fancy to the Marine umbrella, which can help him hide his strength. The man who divides the meat among others is a hero. People who want to eat meat are pirates. And he, Suo Luo, just wants to wait for others to share the meat with him. He is a salted fish. As Suo Luo fell into contemplation, the eyes of other Marines focused. Everyone's eyes are wide, as if they can jump out of their eye sockets at any time. The chin was about to fall to the ground in shock. Naturally, it is impossible for them to understand Suo Luo's thinking changes. What they saw, it was just an ordinary Marine Sao who stood firm in front of the dragon. Yes, during the time that Suo Luo was thinking, Long walked slowly in front of him, over 2 meters tall, looking down at him, and at the same time glanced at Luffy who was lying not far behind Suo Luo. All Marine is even more dumbfounded. Suo Luo Sao Chong. When did you become so brave? Suo Luo, who has never had much motivation, is now firmly standing in front of Dragon. There is no backlash at all. Such a scene made Cats and the other Marines feel incredible. You know, that's Dragon. The most vicious criminal in the world. It's really worthy of being Suo Luo Sao Chong. Cats rolled his throat, swallowing his saliva in fear and tension. In his opinion, Suo Luo must be upholding his justice and duty. When we didn't know what to do, you gave us the answer. Yes, we are Marine, we are not afraid. Even if the enemy is Dragon from Revolutionary Army, we must stand here. Cats summoned all his courage and said this aloud. And these words, like a horn, inspired every seaman on the scene. Yes, we have to stay here. I will follow in the footsteps of Suo Luo Sao Chong. I also. For a time, the Marines clenched their weapons one after another and assumed a fighting posture. Although it was Katz's words that infected them. But every seaman knew it very well. Their spiritual pillar at this time is Suo Luo Sao Chong. What the? Rao was moved by the Revolutionary Army Dragon when he saw the scene before him. Although he has a different position from Marine, he admires such courage very much. Nice man. With a low voice, Dragon focused his eyes on Suo Luo, not hesitating to praise him. Boom! Another shocking thunder fell, and the dazzling thunder light spread in all directions. With the help of this thunder light, Suo Luo was able to clearly see the dragon's expression. At this moment he was raising the corners of his mouth. What's the situation? On the contrary, Suo Luo was at a loss and couldn't understand the current situation. The seamen of Logue Town, what did their brains make up for? I don't want to fight against a guy like Long. And many more. Suo Luo suddenly seemed to realize something. The corner of his eye glanced backward. Found that Luffy was waiting behind him. Although the distance is not very close, he has become a unit that hinders the dragon and Luffy. Let Long think that he is trying to prevent him from taking Luffy away. Now, big misunderstanding. Is it too late to pretend to be shivering now? Suo Luo couldn't help but complain. But the dragon is more decisive than Suo Luo imagined. According to Long's original plan, he just wanted to help Luffy go out to sea indirectly. In the end, I didn't expect that Luffy would be knocked out. Once let him fall into Marine's hands, I'm afraid he will be sent into Impel Down. Can only get rid of the Marine here. Thinking of this, the dragon decisively released his haki. In an instant, a faint breath burst from the dragon. Call out. The breath is weak, like a cold wind. But then, everything changed quickly, and in a blink of an eye it became a raging ocean current, surging at an extremely terrifying speed, enveloped the entire street. Surprisingly, Conqueror's haki. Moreover, the release and spread of this momentum only happened for a moment. Before everyone could react, a transparent half-circle airflow enveloped them. Then came the trembling from the depths of the soul. This force squeezed every cell in these people with incomparable craziness. It caused a violent impact on their consciousness. To them, the dragon is like a terrifying thing that completely crushes and surpasses them from the bloodline. So that their hearts are all dominated by the most primitive fear. Under the influence of this fear, the protective mechanism in their bodies was activated, and their eyes turned white, turning all the pictures in their sights into black. Then comes the sense of hearing, smell, and touch. Disappeared one after another. The body also began to lose balance, and one after another fell towards the ground. In just 2 or 3 breaths, a large number of civilians fell. Only cats, and a few of the elite of Seaman First Class, barely kept standing. But it is also struggling to support. They can't even understand what just happened. However, even people like cats couldn't hold on for long. Dragon's Conqueror's Haki is stronger than the average owner. Within half a minute, cats and others also fell one after another. He looked at Suo Luo with a worried look. Because no one knew, after these Marines passed out one after another. What kind of crazy moves will Dragon make? This guy. Sure enough, he is the most ferocious criminal. Katz's tone was full of unwillingness and completely lost consciousness. This scene let the atmosphere at this time become even more weird. The torrential rain became more violent and swallowed up all sounds. The thunder that fell from time to time made the streets even more eerie and terrifying. Long did not speak anymore, ready to take Luffy away. If he could, he didn't want to release his Conqueror's Haki. But there is no way, this is the safest way. However, just when the dragon was ready to act, he suddenly noticed the Marine who blocked his way in the first place, and regarded by everyone as a spiritual pillar. At this moment, he still stands in front of him. Did not fall down. This unknown man has withstood his own Conqueror's Haki. The dragon who keeps raising his mouth. The expression froze instantly. Soon, Suo Luo also noticed the surrounding situation and found that it was a civilian or his subordinates. All fell on the cold ground, letting the rain wash away. Them, all passed out. Wait, did I miss something when I just wandered? This picture, shouldn't it be Conqueror's Haki? Suo Luo's brain spins like crazy. According to his judgment, the reason these people became like this is obviously because they were attacked by Conqueror's Haki. As the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Long owning Conqueror's Haki is not something to be surprised at. But, Conqueror's Haki is almost the most powerful force in One Piece. Only one existence can be born out of 1,000,000 people. It cannot be inherited innately, nor can it be cultivated. It all depends on one person's fate. How come I haven't felt such a powerful force? Wrong. Suo Luo couldn't help but shook his head. Now is not the time to entangle these issues. The question now is, what should I do? Do I just fall down? The key is how it feels to be stunned by Conqueror's Haki. Will it be too deliberate to just fall down? Forget it, no matter. After some entanglement, Suo Luo simply turned his mind. Why don't you care about it? Just fall straight down. Mr. Long won't put himself up for a fight. However, just when Suo Luo made up his mind, the dragon spoke again. You actually took my Conqueror's Haki. It's not easy as expected. Seeing Suo Luo standing in front of him safe and sound, Long suddenly realized. In addition to his determination to stick to justice, this man has enough strength. His willpower is not even inferior to some Marine Commodore he has seen. Unexpectedly, Logue Town hides such a man. Long thought to himself, but he didn't plan to entangle Suo Luo more. Conqueror's Haki, who had just been released, was not his full strength. After all, his purpose is only to take Luffy away, not to provoke the Marine of the entire Logue Town. If you release Conqueror's Haki without reservation, with the strength of the dragon, all the civilians in Logue Town, Marine, can faint in an instant. Next second, the dragon's pupils dilated in an instant, and the whole person was engrossed until he held his breath and focused his attention on Suo Luo. A faint breath was released again, changing rapidly, sweeping towards Suo Luo like a huge wave. According to the dragon's knowledge, this time the Conqueror's Haki level. Even Commodore from the Marine branch can hardly resist. Enough to make Suo Luo lose consciousness. However, it's not true. Suo Luo still feels nothing. Even his mind was not on the dragon's actions. When he heard the phrase, "You man is really not easy," Suo Luo realized that it is no longer appropriate for him to pretend to be dizzy at this time. Is my strength already exposed? Dragon's Conqueror's Haki should be the top ones in the world, right? In other words, I who was not affected by Haki, are already Shichibukai, or even a powerful person at the Emperor Deputy level, in the dragon's cognition. For a while, Suo Luo couldn't help but start to make up for it. Once regarded by the dragon as a powerhouse at the Emperor Vice level, would it be regarded as exposing one's own strength? Although his current strength is not too weak from the perspective of Pirate World, he can obviously become stronger, so why resist? And if you expose your own strength, you can't get the next reward. No, Suo Luo couldn't help shook his head, and felt confident in his heart. As long as I hide my true strength for another 3 months, I can get Rinnegan. At that time, my strength will undoubtedly be improved qualitatively. Just when Suo Luo thought of this, the expression of the dragon changed again. The smile from the beginning turned into surprise, and now it is shocking. He originally thought that as long as he promoted Conqueror's Haki to this level, he would be enough to kill Suo Luo in seconds. But who knows, facing Conqueror's Haki of his level, Suo Luo still stood there. As if thinking about something. The strength of this man. On top of Marine Commodore. But, why didn't the Marines just call him Chong Sao? Why does a Logue Town Chief Sao have such amazing strength? He has been hiding himself. Or is there another arrangement for naval headquarters? If it is the former, why did Suo Luo do this? What is his motivation? Have no idea. Grunt. Long swallowed nervously. He was always resourceful. Can't see the purpose of the man in front of me. Could it be that it was the arrangement of naval headquarters? However, let a man with the strength of Marine Rear Admiral and even Vice Admiral serve as the little Sao Sao in Logue Town. Thinking of this, Long once again increased the power of Conqueror's Haki and swept towards Suo Luo. In an instant, the transparent circle that should have shown a blue aura turned into black in an instant. From the beginning, the aura became domineering and became violent. The sky changed color, lightning flashed and thundered. Rumble, thunder bursts, rolling in all directions. However, this thunder is not the thunder in the sky, but the black lightning that breathes from the Conqueror's Haki released by the dragon. Full of power. At the same time, a street not far from the dragon released Conqueror's Haki. The clown Buggy is rushing with his pirate team for their lives, trying to leave the town where monsters have appeared. However, a breath soon swept towards them, and countless pirates stopped one after another. The brain only felt as if it had been hit by a lightning strike of 100,000 volts, lost self-awareness, and rushed to grab the ground. The cadres and members of Alvita were even more shocked, and their legs inevitably felt soft. What happened? Why would I suddenly be unable to exert my strength? Captain Buggy, is it Marine? Buggy stopped abruptly and turned to look in the direction Haki was attacking. Although his bounty is only 15 million, he is well informed. No, you can't go wrong. Buggy rolled his throat, his face pale. This is Conqueror's Haki. And this is just the aftermath. If the opponent's target is us, it will be enough to kill us in an instant. In Buggy's eyes, this Conqueror's Haki level does not even lose to monsters like Rayleigh and Bullet. Not Marine. It's impossible for those guys to have such terrible power. Buggy shook his head, and suddenly the person he had just met flashed in his mind. It's the dragon who made the move. We must leave here quickly. Buggy clenched his teeth and slapped himself hard to keep his brain awake. As for the crew members who have passed out, they can only be thrown here. Let's go, Buggy said loudly and then strode hard. The other side, the Marines led by Smoker fell one after another. The speed was so fast that he didn't expect it. When the reaction came, only oneself remained awake. But the consciousness of the brain is not good. Smoker now has a feeling of hangover after drinking strong alcohol. He couldn't help feeling a little weak in his hands and feet. The thunder was even more deafening. Thump. Smoker suddenly knelt on one knee, unable to take a step forward. What the hell happened to Logue Town? Smoker gritted his teeth. This terrible force could never be released by Luffy. It must be someone else. But, who is it? This force is simply stronger than the Vice Admiral I know. Do not. Smoker shook his head. He suddenly realized that the other party's breath was slowly rising. No matter who comes to Logue Town, his strength is at the Admiral level. At the same time, Zoro, who was fighting Tashigi, also felt this terrifying aura. Zoro only felt that his brain was being hammered by something, forcing him to retreat again and again. Tashigi, who was fighting with him, couldn't bear the power and lost consciousness on the spot. Before he even hummed, he rolled his eyes and passed out. Hey, what the hell is going on? Zoro blinked vigorously, unable to understand the situation in front of him. This terrible power even exceeded his cognition. Suo Luo didn't expect the situation before him to take a turn for the worse. Should I just kill the dragon directly here? Suo Luo thought to himself. As long as I kill the dragon, no one knows how strong I am now. It can be regarded as hiding my strength in another sense. Moreover, Conqueror's Haki, which the dragon just released, is very powerful. In an instant, all the civilians present, Marine, fainted. In other words, there were no witnesses at all. But having said that, Long's identity is the leader of the Revolutionary Army anyway, and the Revolutionary Army doesn't really know anything about his whereabouts. For something as big as the leader's disappearance, the Revolutionary Army will definitely start an investigation. It's not possible that there will be a large number of revolutionary troops in Logue Town. Suo Luo frowned. There is also Marine. Long is Garp's son anyway. Although the positions are different, does Garp really ignore the dragon's movements? If Garp finds any clues, will he also come to Logue Town to investigate? There is also the dragon's corpse. Are you going to be buried in Logue Town? Or throw it into the sea? The worldview of One Piece has always been inconsistent with common sense. Even the permanent pointer that Roger threw into the ocean can be found. The ghost knew whether the dragon's corpse would cause more trouble. The more I thought about it, the more Suo Luo felt that killing the dragon was easy. But he really didn't want to deal with the subsequent series of troubles. He just wants salted fish. In Logue Town, I commute to and from get off work every day, chatting with my colleagues and bragging. Simply put, I, Suo Luo, just want to be an ordinary person. Suo Luo couldn't help but complain. However, just as Suo Luo's brain made up a lot of messy things, Long had already elevated his Conqueror's Haki to the highest level. As soon as you open your eyes, you can see violent black lightning bursting from the dragon's body, spreading in all directions. This is more than just momentum. The buildings on the streets and roads were all affected by the dragon's Haki and began to fall apart. Especially the spider web-like cracks under the dragon's feet are shocking. The diameter is as exaggerated as 20 or 30 meters. Even in the dragon's cognition, there are only a handful of people who have Conqueror's Haki of their own level, looking at the entire sea. Even Vice Admiral of Naval Headquarters cannot be safe. Long muttered to himself. In his opinion, after Vice Admiral of his headquarters received this Haki, not to mention fainting on the spot, he would at least be forced to kneel on one knee. Can't stop myself. Even. The dragon seemed to have a premonition. Suo Luo's expression on his face was shocked. His limbs slowly became weak, and finally he grabbed the ground with his head and fell down in front of him. Thinking of this, the corners of Long's mouth rose, and a smile appeared. The result is the next second. The dragon's smile froze on the spot. When his gaze focused on Suo Luo again, he suddenly found. The scene that I expected did not happen at all. Even his top Conqueror's Haki. It still has no effect on Suo Luo. He still stood there with an understatement. It's impossible. Grunt. The dragon rolled his throat, swallowed nervously, stepped back involuntarily, and his brain only felt a buzzing sound. It's like a bolt from the blue sky. If you say, Suo Luo just now surprised him. So now Suo Luo has completely subverted the dragon's cognition. You know, when Conqueror's Haki is upgraded to a certain level, it is no longer a clearing skill to kill miscellaneous soldiers. In addition to bombardment awareness, Conqueror's Haki itself is an extremely powerful means of attack. Those shocking cracks under the dragon's feet are the most direct proof. However, Suo Luo is still unscathed. Didn't even feel the pressure. This man has Conqueror's Haki of the same level as me. Long was shocked, and his rosy cheeks suddenly turned pale, without the slightest trace of blood. Like a dead man. Do not. Another voice roared in the dragon's heart. It's not just as simple as the same level. Suo Luo at least possesses Conqueror's Haki, who is even more advanced than him, so he can stand in front of him so lightly. The scariest thing is, judging from Suo Luo's reaction, he doesn't seem to be confused by the situation in front of him. This is equivalent to saying that Suo Luo knew very well in his heart what moves he had just used. He said to Conqueror's Haki, "Know it all." An ominous premonition sprang up in the dragon's heart. Perhaps, from the beginning, there was a conspiracy here. A big conspiracy designed by Naval Headquarters. They first issued a reward to Luffy, and attracted their attention with the amount of 30 million berry. Then, lure yourself to Logue Town. Although it is not clear how Marine discovered the relationship between himself and Luffy. Otherwise, how to explain it, Logue Town clearly has such a terrifying combat power as Suo Luo. Can Luffy still make a fuss for so long? Can't it be Suo Luo who fishes when he is at work, right? Eliminate all the impossible, then the remaining possibilities are the only and correct answer no matter how impossible they seem. It's like verifying the dragon's mind. Suo Luo's body began to release a majestic murderous aura. He finally made up my mind. Thank you for a little trouble. Suo Luo's eyes became serious and determined, his hands clasped together, and his 5 fingers grabbed his fist. Ling Li's murderous aura caused the surrounding temperature to drop rapidly. Even the corners and the ground began to form ice crystals at a speed visible to the naked eye. In 3 more months, I can get the next reward. Rinnegan. Once I get Rinnegan, it will undoubtedly be a huge improvement to my current strength. So in any case, my strength cannot be exposed here. And as long as I kill the dragon, no one will know how strong I am. Also, in order to prevent the Revolutionary Army from coming to Logue Town to investigate Dragon's disappearance and discovering me. After I get rid of the dragon, even the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army will be destroyed together. Suo Luo made up his mind. But, Dragon is not an ordinary character. If I guessed correctly, this guy must also be demon fruit power. And the most effective way to deal with those with fruit ability is Haki. In an instant, Suo Luo began to release his Conqueror's Haki unreservedly. Boom! Just listen to a loud noise, which instantly overwhelms all the sounds on Logue Town. Whether it is the violent thunder in the sky, or the monstrous waves on the coastline. Compared with the power released by Suo Luo, it looks bleak. Even the buildings on both sides of the street fell apart in an instant because they couldn't bear this force, and were directly razed to the ground by Suo Luo's Haki. The dragon who witnessed this scene was even more dumbfounded on the spot. He suddenly felt like he never understood Conqueror's Haki. Dragon, you have too much control. Suo Luo made a low voice, ready to be here and kill the dragon directly. However, the picture that caught Suo Luo's eyes was empty streets and buildings on both sides reduced to ruins. The invincible, Haki dragon, disappeared without a trace. Suo Luo never thought of this scene. He thought that the dragon guy would smash himself to the end. Suo Luo suddenly turned around and looked at the building on the other side. The dragon in the green coat is now standing on the roof of that building, sweating. The whole person was panting heavily. It can be said to be extremely embarrassed. He never dreamed that there would be a monster like Suo Luo in a small Logue Town. If you continue to fight with him, he will definitely die here. And he still has something to do now. Then, Long watched Suo Luo's actions while shaking his right hand. Call. A green gust of wind whizzed across the street, rolling up Luffy lying on the ground on the spot and sending it to the dragon's hand. Well, what just happened? At this moment, Luffy woke up suddenly, feeling a sharp pain in his brain. The memory of being stunned by Suo Luo's punch emerged. However, Luffy soon realized that he was being carried in his hands. Uncle, who are you? Let me go. Luffy yelled dissatisfiedly, struggling hard. Bang! The dragon hit Luffy's head with a punch, and a big bag instantly bulged. Then, the dragon ignored the explanation, kicked his feet hard, and left here without looking back, and controlled the squally wind here, forming 2 wind walls. Attempt to stop Suo Luo. Must quickly leave this ghost place. Otherwise, neither he nor Luffy will survive. On the contrary, it was Suo Luo, standing alone, messing up in the wind. His hand just tightened the samurai sword on his waist. There is no time to make a move. The dragon ran away. That reputed to be the most vicious criminal in the world. It turns out, chose to escape. Long, is that so confusing? Suo Luo blinked his eyes vigorously, wondering if he had seen something wrong. He thought that the dragon would never die with him. I didn't expect Suo Luo's mouth Jonin couldn't help but vomit, but his consciousness opened the hidden power system in his mind and glanced at it. There is no problem. It seems that just releasing Conqueror's Haki does not mean exposing one's strength. Never mind. Looking at the direction the dragon was running away, Suo Luo simply took 2 steps back and sat down on the ground. Such a finishing touch is not bad for Suo Luo. After all, going to New World deliberately to destroy the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army is still a bit troublesome. He, Suo Luo, just wants to be a salted fish with peace of mind. However, what he didn't know was, the Conqueror's Haki that he just released, centered on this street, caused huge ripples. In order to return to going merry, Sanji ran all the way in Logue Town, but suddenly met Zoro, who was supposed to be behind him. How did that green algae get ahead of me? Sanji couldn't help but complain. Curl your brows. How come you, that guy Luffy? Zoro couldn't help but frown. He clearly remembered that Sanji was with Luffy. Have you lost our captain? However, as soon as Zoro's voice fell, a huge shock swept toward him. Power than shock. Tashigi's power does not know how many times more terrifying. Even in this breath, a black thunder and lightning burst out, like a dragon with its teeth and claws, swallowing towards Zoro. For a moment, Zoro was shocked and quickly drew out all his weapons to meet him. Boom! A loud noise exploded, and the majestic power instantly flew Zoro, causing his body to draw a parabola in the air, falling heavily to the ground, and rolling several laps before stopping. And Sanji didn't get there either. The back hits the ground, bounces, and hits again and again. Eventually fell to Zoro's side. Scalp blood flow. Fainted directly. If it were not for the willpower to become the world's #1 swordsman and worry about Luffy's situation, Zoro would have the same result. Hey, it's a lie. Zoro clenched his teeth, supported his body and stood up from the ground, his hands all cracked, blood oozing out, and his palms trembling constantly. In this situation, he couldn't even hold the knife. And this is just the aftermath. What kind of monster is it that can possess such terrifying power? In Zoro's view, the opponent's strength is even much higher than Hawkeye. Then, Zoro shook his brain vigorously, picked up the samurai swords that had fallen out one by one, and kicked Sanji's arm hard. No response. There was no other way. Zoro had to carry Sanji, who had lost consciousness, on his back and prayed in his heart. Such a terrifying shock wave, don't do it again. Logue Town is really scary. Zoro took a breath, found a direction casually, and set off toward the Golden Mary. At the same time, the huge buggy pirates now only has the clown buggy, Alvida and Moki left. Even his lion niche was stunned by Conqueror's Haki. And Suo Luo's Haki directly blasted a few of them. In addition to the clown buggy, Alvida and Moki also lost consciousness. It's just this time, Buggy said angrily, but his heart was also full of fear. He glanced back at the direction where Conqueror's Haki had released. Really worthy of being the most vicious criminal in the world. I said, once you get involved with that kind of monster, you will never end well. But, the Conqueror's Haki just now is really scary. Enough to compare with Captain Roger. Buggy couldn't help thinking to himself. Although he was always awkward, he was a member of the Roger Pirates when he was young. Some knowledge about Haki. Not only did he know, but he had also witnessed the release of Roger, Whitebeard, Rayleigh, and Bullet. And Haki just now has undoubtedly reached the level of Roger's heyday. No wonder the world government is so jealous. Result. Just when Buggy was sure that Haki just now came from the dragon's handwriting, he saw a figure rushing towards him. The face is full of fear and tension. That person is a dragon. Buggy took a closer look and found that the person who came was not someone else, it was the dragon. Moreover, he still carried Luffy in his hand. Flee in a hurry. In the blink of an eye, Long passed Buggy and disappeared into his sight. Wait, what was the situation just now? Why does the dragon show such an expression? Could it be that the Conqueror's Haki just now was not released by the dragon? Smoker slowly opened his eyes and got up from the ground. The scene that caught his eye suddenly made his scalp numb. At first glance, the buildings on both sides of the street were destroyed 7 or 88, and some were even reduced to ruins. The seamen who followed him either lay on the ground, rolled their eyes and passed out. It's like a battlefield. Immediately after, a sharp pain swept through Smoker's brain, making him press his temple immediately. The memory of just now came to mind. The Straw Hat Boy. Smoker bit his cigar, remembering that he was hunting Luffy. However, Conqueror's Haki was attacked on the spot. In fact, Conqueror's Haki in the first few rounds only shook Smoker's consciousness. Did not knock him down. On the contrary, it was the final blow, Conqueror's Haki, which was menacing. Let him unexpectedly. Although he used his 10 hands to fend off the enemy in the first place, his body was still shocked, and it flew upside down like a kite with a broken line. Even elementalization cannot be used. Thinking of this, Smoker picked up his weapon, only to find that his 10 hands broke in the middle, breaking into 2 pieces. You know, 10 hands are made of sea stone, which is harder than ordinary steel. But even the aftermath of the shock created by the opponent could not resist. What kind of monster is it that appeared in Logue Town? For a while, Smoker couldn't help but wonder. But he didn't stay here for a long time. He tried to wake up the fainted seaman, but he didn't succeed. He simply clenched half of his hands and moved in the direction where Conqueror's Haki burst out. About 5 or 6 minutes of effort. The incredible scene entered Smoker's sight. Half a block of buildings was razed to the ground, and the streets were full of shocking cracks and pits. It is not difficult to say that this is where the war took place. But, the Marines here did not die, but just like his men, they all passed out. It seemed that the other party didn't want to take the lives of these Marines. Isn't it a pirate? Smoker made a judgment immediately. If it is a vicious pirate, there is a high probability that it will not be so kind. Then, he looked around and found that Straw Hat Luffy was not here. Combined with the clear weather, it is not difficult to see that he has fainted for a while. Could it be the Straw Hat Luffy did it? No. That guy didn't have such a terrifying strength. Suddenly, Smoker's gaze was drawn to him, slowly focusing on a certain Marine who was waking up. Suo Luo. When Smoker saw this, he took 3 steps and 2 steps, and asked him about his condition. Although Smoker's expression looked fierce, he was very concerned about his subordinates in his heart. Water. Suo Luo did not answer Smoker's question, but an uncomfortable expression. Smoker heard this and had to help Suo Luo get some light water. Sao Jun Cats, as well as some seamen first class, also woke up at this time. Although he didn't see Luffy, seeing Smoker's figure made his heart calm a lot. After Suo Luo swallowed the fresh water, Smoker asked again, what happened? The eyes of other people also turned to Suo Luo. Especially Cats. In his impression, Suo Luo seems to be the last to fall. It's a dragon. Suo Luo thought for a moment, and responded to Smoker. On the one hand, he had nothing to hide, except for himself. All the Marines present saw the figure of the dragon. On the other hand, the identity of Long as the leader of the Revolutionary Army. Selected by the world government. The world's most murderous criminal. Naturally, he and Naval Headquarters cannot have any intersection. This also means that I only need to push the Conqueror's Haki just now onto the dragon. No one will know the truth. My strength has been concealed for another day. The result was the same as Suo Luo expected. When Smoker heard the name dragon, his face suddenly became pale. It turned out to be the dragon guy. If it was the dragon guy, he could explain the scene just now. Then Smoker looked at the others. When these seamen met Smoker's sight, they nodded one after another to help Suo Luo prove it. Indeed, the dragon appeared. Nothing, Colonel Smoker. However, at this moment, Cat stood up from the ground with a loud noise. He repeatedly confirmed that Luffy had disappeared. The Straw Hat Boy. Smoker didn't show any surprised expression when he heard the words. Although he is only a branch colonel, his true strength is not lost to some commodore in his headquarters. According to the current clues, he reasoned, if I'm not mistaken, the Straw Hat Boy either took the opportunity to escape after you passed out. Either, I was rescued by the dragon guy. As soon as this remark came out, the audience was in an uproar. That dragon saved the Straw Hat. But why? Katz's eyes widened, and he was puzzled. I don't know. Smoker shook his head without thinking. Where will he know the truth? Not long after he woke up, he was even more confused about the appearance of the dragon. But I don't know why. Smoker felt that the second possibility was the greatest. Suo Luo, what do you think? Suddenly, Smoker turned his head to look at Suo Luo and asked him what he thought of the matter. Me. Suo Luo frowned deliberately. If this matter is related to dragons, it is not a big event that we can intervene. So, I think we should go home from get off work. Boom. As Suo Luo said this, all the Marines fell to the ground. The point is there. That's a dragon, Suo Luo Sao Chong. It's really Suo Luo Sao, who really implements the sentence of getting off work on time into the creed of life. Suo Luo shrugged upon hearing everyone's complaints. 8 hours of work, 8 hours of rest, and 8 hours for myself. There is nothing wrong with it. And, Suo Luo paused for a while, then reluctantly shook his head, the corners of his mouth rose, and he couldn't help but smile a few bitterly. You can't expect a small person like me to catch Long, the most ferocious criminal in the world, right? Even if 100 years have passed, the strength gap between me and Long will not be shortened. After speaking, Suo Luo stretched his bones and waved to Smoker, indicating that he would go home and take a hot bath. What's the matter? Let's talk about it at work tomorrow. At the same time, the dragon who had just sent Luffy and his party away hid on an island closest to Logetown and got in touch with the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army. Notify all members of the Revolutionary Army, especially those cadres, tell them 10 million, 10 million. Never go to Logetown. There, the world government has already laid a net of heaven and earth. Although this incident was thrilling, Suo Luo felt that it was not bad in terms of the ending. His own strength has not been exposed. Luffy was not caught either. In any case, Luffy's bounty is as high as 30 million Baileys. It's an exaggerated figure in East Blue. If he is reported to naval headquarters, he might be promoted. And now let the Straw Hat Pirates escape, let alone promotion. It would be good if the headquarters does not blame itself for negligence. So for the next few days, Suo Luo stayed at home for the sake of injury. After all, but he had a head-on conflict with Luffy, a Straw Hat. A few days later, Suo Luo came to the Marine branch in Logetown to check in and go to work. The Logetown incident is over. In the next life, there should be no more storms. Suo Luo thought to himself. Just stay away from that guy Luffy. There will be no trouble. As long as you hide your strength for another 3 months, you can get Rinnegan. Suo Luo Sao Chong. However, just as Suo Luo opened the door and walked into his office, a very loud voice came from inside. Suo Luo looked around and found that Army Sao Sao was standing in his office, holding something in his hand, as if he was laying out something. Except for cats, the Marine soldiers who walked closer to Suo Luo were all busy here at this time. There was unprecedented joy on their faces. Ha ha ha, you are here at the right time, we have great news and we want to report to you. Cats said without thinking. Others also stopped their work and turned to look at Suo Luo. Good news, how big is it? Suo Luo frowned. Suddenly, he remembered. After Luffy escaped from Logetown, Smoker chose to pursue it. Is it possible? Let himself take over Smoker's position as a colonel in Logetown. But this kind of thing is impossible, right? He is just a Sao Chong. The rank between the colonel and the colonel was 1,000 miles away. What good news? Suo Luo thought for a while, too lazy to guess, and asked Cats to report truthfully. Suo Luo Sao Chong, you have been promoted. Cats paused for a moment. We just received a notice from the headquarters to promote you to warrant officer. Warrant officer. Promotion. Why? Suo Luo couldn't help but stunned. If I said I caught Luffy, it would be fine to be promoted. But the problem is, I didn't catch Luffy either. Moreover, even if you get promoted to warrant officer, it's not a big deal. As for such a big celebration, Cats said with a look of excitement, it's not just warrant officer, Suo Luo Sao. No, Suo Luo warrant officer, in addition to being promoted, the department also wants you to study at Marineford. Even if you go to Marineford. Suo Luo spoke subconsciously, but was stunned. As a traverser, he knows exactly what Marineford is. There is exactly where the naval headquarters is located. Wait, what did you just say? Marineford. Yes, Suo Luo warrant officer. Cats gestured excitedly. That's the place every Marine dreams of. Where's the notice? Show me. Suo Luo's expression suddenly became tense. He really couldn't understand this sudden situation. Soon, Katz handed Suo Luo the notice document on the table. He glanced at the content quickly. Sure enough, as Katz said, the headquarters really let myself go to study. But why? Suo Luo couldn't understand, even dreaming. Is it possible? How did you use Conqueror's Haki to repel the dragon? Let the headquarters know. No way. Seeing Suo Luo's confused expression, the corners of Katz's mouth raised, and a triumphant smile appeared. He patted his chest hard. Of course. Our credit. Your credit. Suo Luo gave Katz a fierce look, wishing to cut him off. The co-author is your kid. Of course, although the Straw Hat Boy was allowed to run away from Logue Town this time, we all witnessed the picture of you knocking down the Straw Hat Boy. Katz said loudly, especially Suo Luo's attitude after defeating Luffy. He did not take the credit alone, but announced loudly that this is the credit of every seaman. This incident deeply moved Katz and others. They agreed that such a boss should not be buried in a small Logue town. So after returning to the branch, they told Smoker about the incident and discussed with him. Smoker has always been very friendly to his subordinates. Based on this and other relationship, Smoker specifically explained Suo Luo's performance in the report document. And again affirmed Suo Luo's personality. Especially, when meeting Long Shalu, Suo Luo resolutely stood in front of Luffy in order to carry out his justice. Although the final result is not satisfactory, it is enough to prove that Suo Luo has a heart of justice that is hotter than anyone else. Such a man should not be buried. Seeing that Smoker and the branch Marine have such a high evaluation, the headquarter finally decided to let Suo Luo come to the headquarter for further study. In addition, Suo Luo took sick leave these days, so they did not discuss with Suo Luo. Now I heard that Suo Luo was going back to work, so he started decorating the room to celebrate. As a result, he was a step slower and was hit by Suo Luo. Listening to the ins and outs of the whole thing, Suo Luo has the heart to choke Katz to death. I just want to be in Logue Town and feel at ease with salted fish. And, while Suo Luo's face was cold, Katz continued, Suo Luo Warrant Officer, it is said that the headquarters not only has the most scientific training method but also very advanced science and technology. Maybe they have a way to make your body stronger. For a long time, Katz was worried about Suo Luo's body. In his opinion, if it were not for frailty, with Suo Luo's sense of justice, he would definitely be able to make a difference. Now that I have the opportunity to go to the headquarters, I might be able to solve this fundamental problem. Actually, Katz had heard before that a weak Marine, after receiving Garp's guidance, became very strong, and finally became the mainstay of the headquarters. So, when do we leave? Katz asked. I thank you, Katz. Suo Luo replied angrily, and then made a gesture to let the big guys out. Upon seeing this, Katz had to withdraw from the office. Standing at the door of Suo Luo's office, Katz couldn't help but murmur in his heart, why Suo Luo Warrant Officer doesn't look happy at all. Well, it should be because the news came too suddenly, and there was no change in mentality, right? It's also, that's a chance to go to the headquarters for further training. Thinking of this, Katz suddenly felt relieved, his steps became brisk, and he hummed a small song in his mouth, as if he had done a great good deed. Chapter 11. These guys. Suo Luo sat down on his seat and threw the notification document on the table. I thought this event would end in peace. Unexpectedly, Smoker and Katz would do something extra. After reporting the entire incident to the headquarters, he also affirmed his attack. Go to Marineford to study. Not to mention Marineford has assembled the strongest combat power in the world. Just starting from Logue Town and arriving at Marineford on this route, there are a lot of masters. Crocodile in Alabasta, the CP9 intelligence agent of the City of Seven Waters. Moonlight Molia of Thriller Bark. And many more. Suo Luo really didn't want to get involved with them at all. But having said that, taking advantage of this trip to Marineford is not all bad. Suo Luo looked up to the ceiling. With Smoker's temper, he will definitely ignore the orders of his superiors and go to sea to hunt Luffy. And Logue Town without Smoker is not Suo Luo's first choice to hide his strength. Secondly, this time he made his move arouse the dragon's attention. At that time, there may be a revolutionary army coming to investigate. If you go to Marineford now, you will be a regular Marine, a little bit negative, maybe you will be rushed to other places. After some thinking, Suo Luo made up his mind. Go to Marineford to study. Thinking of this, Suo Luo got up from his seat and walked towards the door in 3 steps in 2 steps. However, as soon as Suo Luo came outside, he saw the Marines hurrying outside. Suo Luo Sao Chong. A seaman noticed Suo Luo, stopped quickly, and saluted Suo Luo. What's wrong? Suo Luo asked casually. The Marines answered without thinking, it's Colonel Smoker, he is leaving Logue Town. Then, the seaman hurriedly left. Sure enough, Smoker is leaving Logue Town. Suo Luo's eyes narrowed slightly. In the original plot, Smoker was the Logue Town that left at this time. After thinking about it for a moment, Suo Luo followed the footsteps of the Shanghai soldiers all the way to the pier of Logue Town. In any case, I and Smoker have worked together for many years. If it hadn't been for him to guard law and order in this Logue Town, he wouldn't be able to hide it so well. After thinking about it, Suo Luo felt that he should say goodbye to Smoker. Suo Luo. Soon, Smoker also recognized Suo Luo among the crowd. He signaled the other Marines to board the ship first, and he took 3 steps and took 2 steps to come to Suo Luo. You should have got the notification document from the headquarters, right? Smoker asked directly. Yeah, Suo Luo nodded. Are you really going to catch the Straw Hat Pirates? However, Suo Luo did not persuade Smoker to stay. On the one hand, with Smoker's character, what he believes is difficult to control even if it is ordered by a superior, and where will he listen to his own words? On the other hand, the Alabasta incident is also an opportunity for Smoker. Not only can Smoker recognize the face of the world government, it also allows him to get a promotion. Although this is not Smoker's original intention. Well, it's you, Suo Luo, this is a golden opportunity to go to this department for further study. You must take good hold of it. Smoker patted Suo Luo on the shoulder. Although he always looks unimpressed, he is the first one to leave every time he gets off work, but his heart of justice is stronger than anyone else. In the past few years, no matter how powerful a pirate he encountered, Suo Luo has never flinched. The only regret is that Suo Luo has been weak since childhood and did not have enough strength. So this time to go to this department to study, maybe it will be a turning point in Suo Luo's life. In this way, after explaining some trivial matters to Suo Luo, and some words of encouragement, Smoker took half of the Marine forces in Logue Town and set off from the dock to hunt down Luffy, the Straw Hat. Because this is Smoker's reckless business. Naturally, the headquarters will not send others to take over Smoker's work. Suo Luo became the supreme officer of the branch in a short time. A few days later, Suo Luo Sao Chong. Cats took the ordinary Marines to find Suo Luo, with a look of excitement. Although only Suo Luo was notified to study in the headquarters, how could he go to sea alone? Even the smallest patrol boat requires at least a dozen people to go to sea. In other words, Cats can't wait to go to sea with Suo Luo. Go to Marineford, you know, that's Marineford. The dreamland of countless Marines. However, seeing Cats with excitement on his face, Suo Luo couldn't help but shook his head. From the beginning, he didn't plan to take Cats and others to sea. The reason is simple. Grand Line is not safe. Sergeant Cats, I need you to stay. Suo Luo said righteously. Stay, stay. Cats was startled. He always thought he had a good relationship with Suo Luo. Ah, Suo Luo sighed deliberately when he saw this. I originally planned to let you go to sea with me, but you have seen the situation now. Call. Smoker not only went to catch the Straw Hat Pirates, but also took a part of Marine. If we leave Logue Town at this time, then who is responsible for the security here? This. Cats opened his mouth, speechless. The truth is indeed such a truth. So, Sergeant Cats, you stay in charge of the security of Logue Town. As for going to sea, didn't you catch the pirates of the Buggy Pirates before? Suo Luo's conversation turned. Although he first came to Logue Town to hide his strength, he got along for 9 years. It is obviously impossible to say that there is no relationship with Cats and others at all. In order to hide their strength and let them die on the Grand Line, Suo Luo couldn't do it. If you want to go, it's better to take the Shanghai thief out to sea. In case something really happens. Just leave them alone. Let them fend for themselves. In addition, they are pirates themselves, and they are all sinners. Even if they really died on the Grand Line, they would not feel any guilt. On the contrary, Cats was a little worried. Get along with a group of pirates. Suo Luo might be in danger. There is nothing to worry about, Cats. Suo Luo heard the words and suggested, just choose the frail and sickly candidates among these pirates, and then put them in chains and not give them weapons. Naturally will not endanger my safety. And I did it for Logue Town. Today's Logue Town needs Marine more than I do. Suo Luo said righteously, as if his life and death were ignored. For a moment, Cats and others were stunned on the spot. Once again moved by the spirit of Suo Luo. For the sake of Logue Town's public security, Suo Luo Sao Chong did not hesitate to put himself in danger. Cats couldn't help tears in his eyes and grabbed Suo Luo's hands. Don't worry, Suo Luo Sao, we will definitely protect the security of Logue Town. Although Cats was still worried, Suo Luo went to Marineford alone, advising to accompany him. But under Suo Luo's strong order, Cats had to stay in Logue Town and take charge of the security work here. In the end, Suo Luo chose a patrol boat with the smallest size, took a dozen crew members from the Buggy pirate group, and set off from Logue Town to Marineford. It is worth mentioning that the real limitation of Suo Luo's hidden strength system is his full strength. For example, Conqueror's Haki, which was released during a previous encounter with the dragon. It's just a part of Suo Luo's full strength. It does not reveal true strength. So after the event ended, Suo Luo did not lose the opportunity to get the next reward. Based on this mechanism, although Suo Luo said he wanted to go, he was not as cautious as others. More often, Suo Luo's mentality is more similar to a random salted fish. Not the kind of cautious attitude. The sailing route was determined by the permanent pointer, and Suo Luo's patrol boat set off. But most of the time, Suo Luo shut himself in the room. However, it took less than 2 days to go to sea. Suo Luo's door was kicked open. Several pirates rushed in with various knives, and then backed to both sides like a tide, giving way to a passage. A pirate in a blue and white checked scarf walked in leisurely. The corners of his mouth were raised, and he put on a triumphant smile. It is the chief of staff of the Buggy pirate group. Capacity. For this person, Suo Luo has some impressions. Unexpectedly, he would appear on his own patrol boat. How did the guy Cats do it? Didn't it mean that the arrangements were all old, weak, sick and disabled? Excuse me, what's the matter? Suo Luo looked at the visitor and asked casually. What? On the contrary, Capacity was stunned. Does the Marine in front of me know what happened? They have got rid of the shackles and are now controlling the patrol boat. Now this ship is under our control, Marine. Capacity took a deep breath. We will never go to Marineford. Everyone knows that Marineford is located in the naval headquarters. Once these pirates go there, they are just looking for death. So when first heard that Marine wanted them to send Suo Luo to Marineford, Capacity planned this rebellion. He disguised himself as a wounded and easily got on the ship. Plus Suo Luo doesn't care about most things. Give these pirates plenty of time to prepare. But Capacity did not intend to kill Suo Luo directly. He has to ravage this guy and make him pay for his conceit. Thinking of this, the corners of Capacity's mouth rose, and a smile appeared. There was already a lot of drama in his mind. The other pirates also showed smirk expressions. An unremarkable Marine fell into the hands of a group of pirates. It's tantamount to a sheep's mouth. Now, however, just when Capacity was about to make Suo Luo kneel in front of him, in a commanding tone, a cold light flashed, and a button on a piece of clothing flew straight to Capacity's forehead. The speed was unexpected. Next second, this button passed directly through Capacity's brain, leaving an inconspicuous blood mark. Boom! The button continued to fly, and finally nailed to the solid wall, directly embedded in it. Visible depth. Capacity's eyes suddenly widened, and there were incredible gazes. The breathing and heartbeat ended. Blood gushes out from his forehead and the back of his head, splashing onto the faces of other pirates. Every pirate's sight was drawn to him, and he watched Capacity fall straight down. Boom! With a muffled sound, Capacity's neck hit the threshold, and blood kept flowing out, forming a pool of blood. Capacity is undoubtedly the strongest here. This rebellion was also the result of his careful planning. However, it is such a backbone who was killed by Suoluo casually with a button. What a joke. How terrifying is the strength of this marine. Guru. The pirates rolled their throats and swallowed nervously. Don't talk, just breathe. They don't dare to breathe again. It wasn't until this moment that they suddenly realized. Why did Suoluo, the marine, dare to let them pirates go on this pirate ship? The reason is very simple, simply. Suoluo's strength is strong enough. As long as he wants, he can kill them all. Even. From beginning to end, Suoluo did not show any panic. To him, killing is as smooth as breathing, natural. For a time, the atmosphere became quiet and weird. Each pirate is as if petrified in place, staring at the spread of Capaci's blood. Excuse me, what else do you have? Suoluo's voice sounded again, breaking the silence at this time. Moreover, his voice still did not fluctuate in the slightest. On the contrary, Suoluo's tone even gave people a lazy feeling. To him, killing Capaci was just a trivial matter. Even, the pirates present were still silent, not knowing how to answer Suoluo's question. I don't know what to do. Suoluo was not in a hurry, leaning on the bed with his back, and watching them quietly for a while. If it doesn't matter, please help me deal with the floor. Bring lunch to the room by the way. Okay. The corner of Suoluo's mouth rose up, and a smile appeared. Whether it is the tone or the manner of speaking, he is as elegant and polite as possible. However, contrast with the scene in the room. Suoluo's smile was in the eyes of these pirates. Like a devil. Do not. This guy. It's the devil. The kind that kills without blinking. Even they don't know how they left the room with Capaci's body on this day. How did you clean up here spotlessly, and finally put Suoluo's lunch on the table respectfully? They only know. On this day, they half-footed into hell. On the next voyage, Suoluo naturally got along well with these pirates. Until one day early in the morning. Boom. Suoluo was awakened from his sleep by an extremely exaggerated loud noise. Then the patrol boat began to bump. It's like being bombarded. Boom boom boom. Soon, there was a rapid knock at the door. Did you encounter a pirate? Suoluo thought to himself, and put on his uniform quickly at the same time. Obviously, the marine flag is hung, so is there really a pirate group so indifferent? After 2 or 3 breaths, Suoluo came to the door and opened the door. A pirate who looked very embarrassed was standing in front of Suoluo, breathing heavily. Report, we encountered a pirate group. Since the end of the Carpach Rebellion, all the pirates have obeyed Suoluo's words. Now they encountered the pirate group, they immediately reported to Suoluo. According to their thoughts, Suoluo is such a powerful marine. It must be the naval headquarters that is not willing to stay in a small log town before leaving for the naval headquarters. It is naturally Suoluo's deeds to eliminate the pirate group encountered now. It is bound to be of great help to his future development. The most important thing is to get along after these few days. The mood of these pirates has undergone a great change. In this sea, it is not unprecedented that pirates abandoned the shadows and turned to be marines. And with Suoluo's strength, he is bound to be famous in the future. If you can become his subordinate, then the future is guaranteed. Based on this and that relationship, they are both for Suoluo and for themselves. Now I can't wait to fight with the pirates I've encountered. Encountered the pirate group. Suoluo heard the words and understood what was going on. Do you know that it is the pirate group? Suoluo asked casually. The pirate couldn't help showing a distressed expression. When he was in the Buggy Pirates, he was just a trainee crew member. There will recognize other pirate groups. Go. After thinking for a while, Suoluo put on his uniform and went straight to the deck. The other pirates noticed Suoluo, put down their work, and came to the deck with him. At about 0.23 nautical miles, the 2 pirate ships were fighting. But one of them was recognized by Suoluo at a glance. It was a small sailboat with a dark green hull and only 1 seat on it. The man standing on it has short black hair, eyes as sharp as an eagle, a short beard on his chin, a black top hat with white fluff, a burgundy patterned shirt, a black windbreaker. Eagle eye. Suoluo frowned slightly, and recognized the pirate's identity at a glance. Without him, this man is really too famous. 7 Warlords of the Sea. The world's largest swordsman. The owner of the strongest black knife. The rival of redheads. Zoro's master. In less than a second, Suo Luo thought of countless titles. I didn't expect to encounter Hawkeye here. But since I met Hawkeye here, it means that the pirate group doesn't need me to act. Suo Luo thought to himself. Although Suo Luo said all the time he wanted to hide his strength, but occasionally when he encountered the pirate group, he would also kill without revealing his strength. After all, kill all those who know their strength. He is not considered as exposing his strength. There are many pirates who disappeared in East Blue inexplicably over the years. Although One Piece is a story about the protagonist Luffy becoming One Piece, there are still few people like Luffy. Most pirates are despicable, selfish guys. Among the many roles in One Piece, he actually likes Hannibal of Impel Down. It is because the pirates came to this sea that civilians panic for fear of losing their loved ones. But Hawkeye is not a pirate who can harm civilians. Saying he is a pirate, Suo Luo feels that he is more like a warrior pursuing swordsmanship. And the reason why the pirates of East Blue are so weak, Hawkeye also played a part. In other words, Suo Luo just saw nothing. That pirate group will also be wiped out by Hawkeye. Notify the helmsman to leave this sea at full speed. In any case, don't get involved with that guy Hawkeye. With our strength, once targeted by the Eagle Eye, the entire army will only be wiped out. Suo Luo said flatly. Even if these pirates don't know Hawkeye, they have at least heard of his reputation. Actually, when Suo Luo broke the news, all the pirates wearing them took a breath. That man turned out to be Hawkeye. The world's #1 swordsman. I heard that his usual hobby is to hunt pirates at sea. For a while, the pirates present fought a cold war one after another. Although Suo Luo is marine, they are all real pirates. Once they were spotted by Hawkeye. Let alone whether Suo Luo will protect them. Even if he has that heart, his strength is not allowed. You know, that's an Eagle Eye. The man who carries the world's first title. I don't know how many times stronger than Capacity. However, just when everyone started to act because of panic. I don't know if Hawkeye did it intentionally, he held the cross knife in one hand and waved it vigorously. Call out. In an instant, a green sword aura spread out from his slash. The surface of the sea suddenly rolled and separated to the sides, and the picture grew stronger and stronger. After a few breaths, the rough sea was chopped into huge cracks. Soon, the sea water poured in towards the formed ravine, and under the rush, it was like a waterfall. The sword aura that Hawkeye struck set off a 10-meter high air current, and went straight to Suo Luo's patrol boat. The speed is so fast that the helmsman can't avoid it when he advances at full speed. Ah, what kind of attack is this? Help, help. The pirates who witnessed this scene screamed in shock. They covered their temples with their hands and raised their eyes, as if they would fall to the ground at any time. The mouth is wide open, so exaggerated that it can fit a fist in. A chill spread across the patrol boat. Almost every pirate became desperate because of Hawkeye's slash. This Hawkeye, Suo Luo alone stood quietly on the deck, facing the attacking sword energy. Obviously a few nautical miles away. Hawkeye's sword aura did not weaken at all, or showed signs of stopping. And at this speed, the patrol boat can't evade. If this sword goes down, the patrol ship is afraid that it will not fall apart. It's really terrible sword spirit. Suo Luo couldn't help sighing inwardly. He really deserves to be the man who bears the name of the world's largest swordsman. Easily separate the entire sea. Never mind. Suo Luo shook his head and grasped the samurai sword on his waist. Just as the sword energy released by Hawkeye was about to split the patrol ship in two, Suo Luo swept the katana with one hand. In an instant, the sheath of the katana directly resisted the attacking sword energy. A wave of coercion swept towards Suo Luo, forcing him to use 10% of his sword skills. Boom! A loud noise exploded on the spot, and Hawkeye's sword energy was immediately dissipated. A terrifying air current spread out in all directions, forming huge ripples on the sea, turning into huge waves, pushing the patrol boat away from the Eagle Eye. On the other hand, Suo Luo deliberately stepped back, appearing to be out of balance, and sat down on the barrel. Okay, terrible swordsmanship. Suo Luo mechanically shocked. The swordsmanship I just used is probably only the level of Rear Admiral. It shouldn't attract Hawkeye's attention. Suo Luo sat on the wooden barrel on the deck, thinking to himself. All the pirates present took a breath and stared at Suo Luo dumbfounded. Hey, did you see it? Suo Luo warrant officer just blocked the Eagle Eye's attack. A pirate couldn't help but said. Although Suo Luo had previously killed Kapasi in seconds, Kapasi has always been good at strategy, but his strength is very average. But who is Hawkeye, worthy of being the world's #1 swordsman? Especially the power of the blow just now split the sea in two easily, and it hasn't healed until now. The bottomless gully makes the scalp numb. However, it was such an exaggerated slash, but Suo Luo alone blocked it. Look, I saw it. Another pirate stammered. In addition to shock, his eyes were full of admiration. It turns out that the strength of Suo Luo warrant officer is so terrifying. Too strong. For a while, all the pirates were dumbfounded. Their determination is even firmer in their hearts. They must follow Suo Luo in their entire lives. Give up your identity as a pirate and become a just marine. Suo Luo also quickly noticed the reaction of these pirates and had to raise the volume a few minutes. What are you doing in a daze? Get out of here quickly. If Hawkeye comes again, I may not be able to stop the second time. After Suo Luo's reminder, these pirates reacted and rushed to their position, changed the trajectory of their voyage, and wanted to stay away from the Eagle Eye. However, as the sword just caused the sea to invert, forming an extremely strong current, forcibly pulling the patrol boat towards the Eagle Eye sailing vessel. Even the helmsman can do nothing. As the distance between the two sides narrowed, these pirates were able to see clearly who the pirate group Hawkeye was fighting against. It's just Buggy, the clown who abandoned them in Logue Town before. Rao Suo Luo couldn't help being surprised. I would actually meet Buggy and Hawkeye here. Why do I always get involved in trouble? Suo Luo couldn't help but complain. At the same time, Hawkeye and Buggy also noticed the patrol boat approaching them. I saw Hawkeye's right hand drooping naturally and pointed the cross knife at the ground. His eyes condensed slightly as he looked at the patrol boat, and he couldn't help feeling a little surprised. Although he used a cross knife to release the slash in the air just now, it was not as powerful as an ordinary person could take it. If you change to Zoro, you will definitely sink people and boats into the sea by yourself. Do not. Even some Rear Admiral swordsmen from Naval Headquarters could not withstand the slash just now. The key is, Hawkeye vaguely saw that the opponent had used swordsmanship. Cut off his sword energy horizontally, making it invisible. This is enough to show that the other party is also a swordsman. It's just that I didn't pay attention to the patrol boat just now, so I didn't see clearly who did it. Marine. Hawkeye looked intently and noticed the Marine flag on the patrol ship. However, the crew on the deck looked more like pirates. Interesting. Hawkeye was expressionless, but there was a huge wave in his heart. Thinking back carefully, when the opponent just shot, there was a momentary burst of powerful sword intent. Not to mention this kind of sword intent is the weakest East Blue in the world. Just looking at New World, there are only a few people who can own it. As for whether the opponent is a Marine or a pirate, it doesn't really matter. The important thing is that sword intent attracted Hawkeye's attention and interest. He wanted to try it out, at what level the opponent's swordsmanship was at. Yes, the Eagle Eye, who has always been casual, awakened the soul of the warrior at this moment. Even, recalling the Zoro I met before, Hawkeye felt that this trip was more interesting. At the same time, Buggy also recognized these crew members. Buggy's eyes widened, as if he would jump out of his eye sockets at any time. He never dreamed that he would actually see his crew on a patrol boat with a Marine flag. Hey, I am the clown Buggy, your captain. Excited, Buggy couldn't take care of it a lot, and quickly used the chop fruit ability and flew towards the patrol boat. He doesn't want to stay with Hawkeye for a moment. But Alvida and others are at a loss as to the situation in front of them. This is especially true for the pirates on patrol boats. Captain Buggy. Why is Captain Buggy here? On the contrary, Suo Luo couldn't help but have a black line on his face. The more I am afraid of something, the more I am coming. Soon, Buggy flew directly to the patrol boat, then turned around and called Alvida to quickly bring his feet over. Little ones, let's get out of here. Then Buggy couldn't wait to yell, and then put his hands around his chest, and began to imagine that after getting rid of the eagle eyes, he would go to find the treasure. However, just as Buggy's voice fell, the eagle eye standing on the sailing boat immediately took action. He inserted the cross knife back in, and then with a strong kick with his feet, the whole person jumped up, drew a perfect parabola in the air, and finally fell impartially on the deck of the patrol boat. Boom! Accompanied by a muffled noise, the entire deck was suddenly silent. The clown Buggy, pirates, even Suo Luo's eyes were all focused on Hawkeye at this time. Everyone held their breath at this moment, feeling their brains blank. After a full 5 or 6 breaths, these talents seemed to wake up from a dream, with their eyes staring wider than Bull's eyes. His mouth opened wide into an O shape, and his shocked jaw was about to fall to the ground. No one thought of the eagle eye who carried the name of the world's #1 swordsman. It turns out, will appear on the patrol ship. Go on, just kidding. A pirate rolled his throat and swallowed nervously. Hawkeye likes the hobby of hunting pirates, and it comes to their minds. Everyone can't help but feel tensed. Especially Buggy. Hey, you fellow, do you really think that Uncle Ben is afraid of you? Buggy yelled at Hawkeye, but only yelled. Didn't really do it. Thinking of the name of Hawkeye, Buggy was somewhat apprehensive. However, doubts arose in his heart. Why would my own crew appear here? Didn't they get caught by Marine in Logue Town? And many more. Suddenly, Buggy noticed that on the deck, which was full of pirates, there appeared men who were incompatible with the environment. He sat on the barrel alone, without saying a word. Exactly, Suo Luo. See, Marine. Buggy was startled, then looked at the flag on the ship, and seemed to understand something. I am the captain of the Buggy pirate group. A 15 million bounty, Barry. I want to surrender. Buggy shouted suddenly. Suo Luo. Buggy went straight to Suo Luo and announced loudly that he would surrender and surrender. In fact, this is just a stopgap for Buggy. The identity of Hawkeye is 7 warlords of the sea. It is a pirate recognized by the world government. But this recognition requires some price. For example, 7 warlords of the sea needs to pay a certain amount of tribute to the world government. And must not conflict with Marine. In other words, as long as you fall into Marine's hands. Naturally, Hawkeye can no longer shoot himself. And when Hawkeye leaves, Marines like Suo Luo can contain themselves there. Just thinking about it, Buggy feels like a genius. Instead, Suo Luo has a black line on his face. Sudden surrender is okay. But he had no idea of arresting Buggy at all. Sorry, I can't arrest you now. If you want to surrender, I suggest you go to Logue Town. Suo Luo still sat on the barrel, said in a calm tone, and then pointed in a direction casually. Instructed Buggy to set off in this direction and he could reach Logue Town. Buggy. In the next second, Buggy separated his hands from his wrists and flew out to grab Suo Luo's collar. Hey, this uncle is also a pirate offering a 15 million bounty. What's the matter with your tone? Arrest me personally, but it's a great achievement. Buggy said angrily, very dissatisfied with Suo Luo's attitude. However, because of the sword intent he had just felt, Hawkeye suddenly lost interest in Buggy. He stood on the deck of the patrol boat and looked around, but found no decent target. So Hawkeye had no choice but to ask, who is the one who stopped me from beheading? Buggy was taken aback, and suddenly remembered. When he met Hawkeye just now, this guy wanted to cut himself. However, with the ability of chop chop fruit, that terrifying slash passed directly through his body. Now think about it, the direction that the slash was released seems to be this patrol ship. However, with such a powerful slash, this patrol ship was safe and sound. Thinking of this, Buggy looked at the pirate who had followed him. These people are mediocre, saying that they can withstand the attack of Hawkeye, then they are the next pirate king. As a result, the pirates present turned their heads to look at Suo Luo. In this silent way, he responded to Hawkeye. Yes, it's you. Buggy blinked vigorously, his hand holding Suo Luo's collar suddenly released, and his body couldn't help but back up a few steps. Well, although I don't know why you looked at me with that kind of eyes, it was obviously not my job. Suo Luo got up from the wooden barrel with an innocent expression, I'm just an ordinary Marine. Originally, I was responsible for escorting these pirates to the Marine 153 branch, but they encountered a rebellion halfway through. The other Marines were killed, leaving me hostage. If you don't believe it, you won't be able to find a second Marine anyway. Suo Luo quickly explained. Show that you are the victim. On the contrary, the pirates present were all dumbfounded and confused about the situation in front of them. Obviously. Is that what you did? How could we see so many pairs of eyes wrong? And you see, if I am really a swordsman, how could I use such an ordinary samurai sword? Suo Luo weighed his weapon and showed it to Hawkeye. He tried his best to prove to Hawkeye and others that he had nothing to do with the situation just now. The other pirates are even more confused. Suo Luo shamelessly complained in his heart. In the end how come you say such things without shame? Could it be the eagle-eyed sword spirit we blocked? What a joke. However, although these pirates were very mad, they didn't know what to say for a while. What can you say? Can't say anything. Even Buggy can't help but wonder if there is really a powerful master hidden in his crew. Has been pretending to be a pig and eat a tiger. But Hawkeye didn't bother to reason about who was lying. Seeing no one admitted, he simply took off the black knife behind him. A chill fell on the deck, causing the pirates to hold their breath, only feeling that the temperature had dropped a lot. Since no one wants to admit it, then use the easiest way. With a low voice, Hawkeye clenched the black knife with one hand, flicked it hard, and aimed the tip of the knife at the deck. His thoughts are straightforward. Anyone can see it. He intends to use the method of destroying the ship to force the sword tyrant out just now. All the pirates couldn't help but start holding their heads with their hands, their eyes turned towards Suo Luo, as if they were asking him for help. And, for this matter, Suo Luo might not be indifferent. The patrol boat sailed on the sea for several days. It is very far from Logue Town. And, leaving Logue Town, even if he officially embarked on the Grand Line, without a permanent pointer, you can't reach the next island at all. The most important thing is that even if Suo Luo has a permanent pointer on his body, can he swim past without a patrol boat? To know, if they want to go to the next island, they have to cross the red line. Only by finding the correct ocean current can you cross the red line. But just in the hearts of the pirates, Suo Luo reached the moment when he had to take action. He directly raised his hand. Mr. Dracula Mihawk, please wait a moment. Suo Luo said slowly, and then took a step towards the edge of the deck. What the hell are these guys doing? I just want to go to Marineford quietly and be an ordinary Marine. If you are lucky, you will be kicked to the branch because you are not actively training. I'm not interested in playing against the strong in the world of One Piece at all. Moreover, the guy Hawkeye, even though he is 7 warlords of the sea, is the world's largest swordsman. And that kind of thing will naturally not be selected with scissors, rock, or cloth. His strength must be very, very, very terrifying. If it really fights, your true strength might be exposed. All right, you are all big brothers. I can't provoke you, can I still hide from you? Lousy swims directly from here to Marineford. Suo Luo couldn't help but complain, and then, in full view, Suo Luo stretched out his hands and jumped directly from the deck of the patrol ship. Puff! With a large splash of water splashing, Suo Luo jumped directly into the sea, then took out a permanent pointer from his arms, determined the direction, and started the butterfly stroke. For a time, there was one on the deck of the patrol ship, all of them looked confused. Rao is Hawkeye, a guy who often looks paralyzed. At this time, it is also completely ignorant. What the hell is this Marine doing? Does he want to swim directly to Red Line from here, right? Hey, you fellow, don't you want to swim to the next island? Buggy flew to the side of the patrol boat and couldn't help but complain. It was the first time he saw a Marine like Suo Luo. There is a problem. Suo Luo soaked in the sea and glanced back at Buggy. With my own strength, it should be no problem to swim from here to Marineford. If it goes well, you might still encounter passing merchant ships. Let them take their own ride. For the current Suo Luo, as long as he can get rid of the guy Hawkeye. And the Hawkeye standing on the patrol boat was also speechless, this Marine. According to the details just now, Suo Luo is almost the swordsman who blocked his beheading. But Hawkeye really didn't expect that Suo Luo would rather jump into the sea than fight against him. This guy is mostly a guy with nothing but strength but no guts. People like him, even if they are stronger than Zoro now, will sooner or later be surpassed by the opponent. For a time, Hawkeye only felt that everything was dull. I saw his black sword aimed at the deck of the patrol ship, releasing a green sword energy on the spot. Rumble. A loud noise swept out in all directions, thunderous and deafening. The majestic force directly penetrated the hull, breaking it apart. All the pirates present took a breath, only feeling that their brains were blank. Immediately afterwards, the entire hull began to sink at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the seawater poured up like a huge mouth, about to swallow the broken patrol boat in two. As for the eagle eyes, naturally they would not look at these pirates. He is disappointed now. I just want to leave East Blue and go back to my residence to have a good rest. But it was not only Suo Luo's patrol boat that Hawkeye destroyed. He stood on the sinking deck, turned his head to look at the boat Buggy had snatched from elsewhere, raised the black knife again, and dropped the knife in his hand. Call out. Another incomparably sharp sword energy crisscrossed across, smashing Buggy's boat in two pieces. In an instant, the pirate ship lost its balance, collided from the cut, and began to sink. After 2 short breaths, 2 ships were destroyed. This is the strength of Hawkeye. And he didn't even look at these pirates. He jumped and landed smoothly on the sailing boat called the Coffin Boat, ready to leave here. Everything is so random, so understatement. Full of force. Ah, that's awful. On the contrary, it is the clown Buggy, unavoidably holding his head in his hands, his face pale. As demon fruit power, the biggest disadvantage is that it cannot touch water. Now that there is no boat, once you fall into the sea, it will be a dead end. How to do. Just as Buggy was panicking, his gaze fell on Suo Luo. Hey, you fellow, can you really swim to the next island? Buggy yelled impatiently. In this situation, he has no choice. Whenever there is a second way, he will not pin his hopes on a marine. Suo Luo was startled, and then replied, yes. He didn't expect that Buggy would care about himself. How long can I swim? What does it have to do with him? Alvida, throw my feet here. Seeing Suo Luo's answer so surely, Buggy had no choice but to pin his hopes on him, turning his head and yelling at Alvida. His idea is simple. He is a person of fragmentation. The body can fly. Only 2 feet can't do it. But the weight of both feet is very light, allowing Suo Luo to lift his hands and fly by himself. In this way, the 2 of them can safely reach the next island. As for those crew members who are about to sink to the bottom of the sea, that can only be blamed on their unlucky encounter with Hawkeye. I can't protect myself now. Suo Luo. After listening to Buggy's plan, Suo Luo couldn't help but look black. I am ready to swim to Marineford. You guys are endless, right? Although I have no ambitions or ambitious goals, you can't bully honest people like that. For a while, Suo Luo, who has always been mild-mannered, has a temper. Or just kill Buggy and Hawkeye directly here. Suo Luo frowned, but he quickly realized that once he killed Buggy and Hawkeye here, it would have a chain effect. Although Buggy looks like a foolish man, he is the humor in One Piece, but his true identity is the investigator on One Piece Roger's ship. Blackbeard doesn't need to sleep, just the information Buggy has detected. At the same time, he and the 4 Emperors Redhair are also brothers. If Buggy died, it's hard to say that Redhead wouldn't investigate the cause of his death. And Hawkeye, as 7 warlords of the sea, he is even more valued by the world government. Will Marine launch an investigation? Will the world government care? Also, Hawkeye itself is one of the best in this world. If you fight him at sea, will it cause a series of ripples and be noticed by others? You know, Hawkeye doesn't have too many combat descriptions in One Piece, and no one knows where his ceiling is. If you really fight, maybe you can kill Hawkeye with one move. But what if it gets stuck? If others notice, I will kill them if I want. And Luffy, Smoker, they shouldn't be far from here. The key is, Suo Luo received information when he was in Logue Town. Garp took Monka from the 153 branch and was on the route back to the headquarters. Will your own battle attract Garp? Do you want to kill Garp together? But if Garp dies, things will get worse. At that time, Naval Headquarters will definitely launch a full investigation. Do you want to destroy the Naval Headquarters together? Sengoku, Akainu, Aokiji, Kizaru. Suo Luo couldn't help but feel a headache for a while. Obviously I only want to kill a Buggy, but after a little thought, a lot of characters are involved. It's no wonder that the male protagonists of the online novels I read before didn't have a brain, and killed people when they saw them. It's really troublesome if I move my head a little. Suo Luo couldn't help but vomit. However, anyone who knows Suo Luo's current thoughts is afraid that he can't help but complain. Are you crazy? Never mind. Suo Luo's magical brain supplemented, he slowly pulled out the samurai sword hanging from his waist, and then determined the direction of Logue Town. In the next second, Suo Luo raised this plain katana and slashed it hard. A huge sword aura burst out in the direction of Logue Town, and immediately set off a huge wave of 100 meters high, dividing the entire sea in two. Boom! The moment Suo Luo drew the samurai sword, the Eagle Eye, who had planned to leave here, was immediately attracted to look over. That knife! A man who is the world's #1 swordsman. Hawkeye not only masters superb swordsmanship, but his knowledge of katana far exceeds other swordsmen. Although Suo Luo's katana looks ordinary from the outside. But the moment the scabbard was pulled out, it gave Hawkeye an indescribable feeling. Especially the blade of that weapon. In fact, the katana used by Suo Luo is not a conventional weapon mass-produced by naval headquarters. Instead, through rewards, weapons from another world were obtained. Its name is Zanpakuto. The reason why it looks unremarkable now is because Zanpakuto is usually in a sealed state. Only after yelling Shikai, the weapon will show its true appearance. Cut! Suo Luo screamed immediately, raised the knife and dropped it, slashing in the direction of Logue Town. In an instant, a huge sword aura burst out from the blade, set off a huge wave, and rolled out toward both sides. The sea began to vibrate constantly, and the entire sea surface was divided by Ji and Chi. Not only that, this sword aura is not only extremely wide, but also extremely deep, and a few of them can't breathe, they expose the bottom of the sea. It was as spectacular as Moses separated the Red Sea. The creatures in the sea were swept by the sword energy and died tragically. Countless fish fell to the ground from midair. The fishes that were lucky enough to escape the catastrophe were all panicked and swam desperately. The scariest thing is, this sword chi went straight to the direction of Logue Town, and there was no weakening of the momentum. Separate the sea all the way. Rao was the eagle-eyed sailboat, but it was not spared, and was swept in by the sword energy and was annihilated on the spot. This scene came too suddenly, causing Hawkeye to have no time to react. At the critical moment, he can only rely on his physical instinct to pull out a black knife to resist. Bang! With a loud noise, this sword aura forcefully forced Hawkeye to retreat 100 meters away and fell into the sea. Every pirate who witnessed this scene felt his scalp numb. Rao was the slash of Hawkeye just now, only to separate a small area of the sea, let the seawater back in, forming a rushing waterfall. Suo Luo's slash abruptly opened up a piece of land in the sea. The scary thing is that the separated seawater hasn't been healed for a long time. Hey, it's a lie. How can human swordsmanship achieve this level? How strong is that marine's strength? His swordsmanship, I'm afraid it has surpassed Hawkeye. Do not. As soon as the pirate spoke, he shook his head frantically. Beyond the eagle eye, I am afraid that it is not the swordsmanship of Hawkeye, it cannot be compared with Suo Luo. This guy is simply a monster through and through. However, just when these pirates were shocked, they suddenly reacted to their situation. Suo Luo's swordsmanship was so fierce that it set off a huge ocean current. The boat that was chopped into two pieces by the eagle eye was directly driven by the ocean current and fell towards the bottom of the sea. All pirates are implicated in them. Ah! All the shock was transformed into a scalp-numbing scream at this moment. What's the situation? Buggy's eyes widened, and his jaw was shocked to the point of falling into the sea. He didn't even dream of thinking that the unremarkable marine would actually. So scary, and many more. The guy was wearing a normal marine uniform, not a coat with the word justice. In other words, Suo Luo is not a marine general. Why, there will be such a monster in the marine team. I even thought about letting that monster take me to the next island, away from Hawkeye. This guy is obviously scarier than Hawkeye. Buggy couldn't help being mad. Who did you provoke? As soon as I left Logue Town, I encountered two monsters at the same time. First Hawkeye, then Suo Luo. No, this guy is 100 times more terrifying than Hawkeye. For a while, Buggy couldn't even make a sound. How to do? What should I do now? Who will help me? And Alvida and others didn't get there either. They were dumbfounded when they looked at the scene in front of them. Especially those pirates on patrol boats. They did not expect to develop to this point at all. If they just fall into the sea, they can still stay in the sea for a while by virtue of the water. But now, the sea was directly separated, and they struggled desperately but failed to resist the ocean current, and fell to the bottom of the sea along the divided ravine. Boom, boom, there was a muffled sound, as if calculating how many people died. Alvida was crying without tears. Holding a wooden board in both hands, he fell into deep despair, at a loss. The atmosphere became weird. Buggy, Suo Luo floating on the surface of the sea suddenly heard his voice, shouting Buggy's name, and then inserted Zanpakuto into the scabbard and hung it back to his waist. And this sound pulled Buggy back from the shock to the real world. He can fly on the sea now because his feet were put on the plank by Alvida. But if you don't figure out a way to leave here as soon as possible, you will die sooner or later. The worst thing is that the 3 ships here were completely destroyed one after another. And at a glance, there is no other ship at all. At this moment, it is really a dead end. Buggy wanted to cry without tears, and could only stare at Suo Luo eagerly. If I knew this, I shouldn't have hunted down Luffy, a straw hat. How nice to stay in East Blue all the time. But Suo Luo did not intend to kill Buggy, because it is too much trouble. So, he pointed at the bottom of the sea where his sword chi was exposed to the air. Did you see that road? Suo Luo asked lightly. What? Buggy was taken aback for a moment and didn't understand what Suo Luo meant. Did you see the road in the bottom of the sea? Where do you go? Goodbye. After Suo Luo said, regardless of Buggy's reaction, he turned and started the butterfly stroke in the other direction. Buggy and Alvida are both demon fruit power. They can't swim. Walking along the seabed is their only hope. The other pirates all fell to the bottom of the sea and died. As for Hawkeye, although he is the world's largest swordsman, his physical strength should not be as good as himself. And no one among the living people at the scene knew what he was called. And there will probably not be any intersections afterwards. Row, Suo Luo thought to himself, and started swimming towards Marineford comfortably. Stay away from this land of right and wrong. Hawkeye's body is immersed in the sea, and his mind is full of pictures of Suo Luo just breaking the sea with a sword. Immediately afterwards, Hawkeye felt a bit tingling in his tiger's mouth. It was because of the impact that I received when I subconsciously resisted the sword chi. At the same time it also means Suo Luo blocked his own air slash. And he didn't. Sit down. Do not. The sword energy he wielded at the beginning was not his full strength, and he didn't even use the black sword. Thinking of this, Yingyan glanced at the sea separated by Jianqi, and at a glance, the seabed was clearly visible. The scariest thing is, this ravine is like an abyss, and there is no edge in sight. Yes, Rao is Hawkeye's eyesight that is so different from ordinary people's eyesight. At a glance, you can't see the end of the crack. Plus what Suo Luo just said casually. He wants Buggy to walk from the road under the sea to Logue Town. It is possible that this guy's sword spirit has spread to Logue Town. Hawkeye couldn't help blinking, seriously wondering if he had any hallucinations. Otherwise, how could he have such unrealistic ideas? You know, it takes several days to reach Logue Town even if it is a patrol boat. Enough to explain the distance problem. If it were me, would it really be possible to achieve this level? For a moment, Hawkeye couldn't help asking himself. With his current swordsmanship, he collapsed a mountain with one blow, divided the sea with one blow, and even smashed a meteorite with a knife. He is confident enough to do it. Only in the face of the swordsmanship that Suo Luo displayed, the man who bears the name of the world's #1 swordsman, is shaken. Soon, Hawkeye woke up like a dream, and his heart was shocked again. He never dreamed that he would encounter such a terrifying swordsmanship monster in East Blue, the weakest in the world. Do not. Suddenly, Hawkeye rolled his throat and swallowed nervously. Although East Blue is said to be the weakest in the 4 seas, the top strong have been born in this sea area. Isn't the famous One Piece Roger born in Logue Town? And Garp, the character who is hailed as a marine hero by everyone. Aren't they all from East Blue Marine? Hawkeye looked at Suo Luo again. Although he still had a facial expression, his heart was like a sea swept by squally rain, unable to calm for a long time. Thinking about it carefully, from the moment he saw Suo Luo, his attitude was very casual. It seems that I don't care about anything. And his marine uniform is just the warrant officer of the branch. The warrant officer of a branch has such amazing strength. Do not. To be precise, it should be a monster with such amazing strength. Why is it just a warrant officer? This guy, hasn't he been hiding his strength all the time? Hawkeye's brain works fast. The unremarkable man in front of him must have a huge conspiracy brewing in his heart. Yes, if it weren't for the ambition to shake the earth. How can a man urge himself to become a strong man with no distraction? According to Hawkeye's knowledge of swordsmanship, Suo Luo is so powerful. In addition to his own talent for swordsmanship, he must also have enough hard work and sweat. This is almost the common sense in every swordsman's heart. It is not even an exaggeration to say that at this moment, Hawkeye completely reacted. Why did Suo Luo choose to jump off the boat just now, and why did he choose to swim and leave here? Because with his strength, he can definitely do this. Wait a minute, if you think about it according to this line of thought, then he just refused to fight me, maybe. It's not because of fear. But, I feel that I am not qualified to force him to take action. In an instant, Hawkeye's eyes widened, and he, who had always been paralyzed, showed an unbelievable expression at this time. He, Hawkeye, the man of the world's largest swordsman. Unexpectedly, it could not arouse Suo Luo's inner desire for battle. And if this happens to oneself, there is only one reason. That is, the opponent's strength is too weak, so that he has no interest in shooting at all. I was underestimated by Suo Luo. For a time, the series of logic that Hawkeye had supplemented by his own brain was completely shocked. Actually, Suo Luo has any ambitions and conspiracies. He just found it bothersome and didn't bother to compete with Hawkeye. There are no thoughts of those that are not. However, due to the lack of information, coupled with Suo Luo's understatement and very casual attitude. That's why Hawkeye's thoughts at this moment are unavoidable. Completely headed into the wrong direction. And subconsciously determined that Suo Luo is a super strong. As a result, the soul of the warrior in the depths of Yinyan's heart was completely ignited at this moment. He, Hawkeye, wants to fight Suo Luo. Marine. Thinking of this, Hawkeye could no longer hold his own heart, aiming at Suo Luo's swimming direction, and raised the black knife in his hand. Next second, Hawkeye's arm was directly wrapped around the black armament hockey and swept out forcefully. Call out. With the sound of the air being cut through, the extremely exaggerated sword energy flew out. The width is hundreds of meters, and the difference is that after wrapping armament hockey, Hawkeye's sword aura suddenly dyed black. It was just the power, and it pushed the sea several meters down. It's not over, right? Soon, Suo Luo, who was swimming, felt the momentum coming to him. The sea keeps rolling and the waves are rough. Moreover, the scope of this sword aura is so great that it is inevitable for oneself to avoid it. There was no other way. Suo Luo had to pull out Zanpakuto and put on a parry action. Boom! A loud noise exploded in Suo Luo's ears. If his tympanic membrane is not strong enough, he might be deaf on the spot. But, Suo Luo didn't make any effort to dissipate this sword aura, but simply took advantage of the strength and allowed the Eagle Eye's sword aura to lift himself out. I saw Suo Luo's body leave the screen, drawn an excellent parabola in the air, and landed in the sea again, and was far enough away from the Eagle's Eye to the extent of 3 or 4 nautical miles. Then, Suo Luo completely dropped Hawkeye and others, and swam towards the red line without looking back. Sure enough, all warriors are crazy. While swimming, Suo Luo didn't forget to complain about Hawkeye. On the contrary, it is Hawkeye, a messy person on the sea. The sword energy just now was countless times stronger than the usual slash. Result, not only did it have no effect on Suo Luo, but he took advantage of it and left here. Make yourself unable to chase. What's the matter with this feeling? Grunt. Hawkeye swallowed and looked down at his hands. An incredible scene appeared. His hands are trembling constantly. Not out of fear, but out of excitement. He wants to fight Suo Luo. Watching Suo Luo leave the sea, the clown Buggy's heart can't help but feel a little crazy. Although Suo Luo's strength is indeed strong, it shocked his heart. But, does this guy know how far it is from Logue Town? I'm afraid that I won't be able to walk to Logue Town without walking for a month or two. Moreover, the picture of Suo Luo separating the sea with a sword is truly spectacular and amazing. There is no controversy on this point. However, the separated seawater will recover sooner or later. At that time, I will be directly on the bottom of the sea, and I will be drowned. But the words came back. Those crew members who were not demon fruit power were all buried under the sea. Only myself and Alvida are safe. But neither of them knows how to water. There are no passing ships around. If this continues, I am afraid that it will be a death sooner or later. The strong desire to survive makes Buggy's brain work fast. Hawkeye Mihawk. Soon, Buggy noticed Hawkeye's actions. He put away his shock at Suo Luo and started to splice the floating wooden boards together on the sea, trying to make a raft. Now he has only one idea. That is to catch up with Suo Luo as soon as possible. Fight him. Bet on the #1 name in the world. Buggy gritted his teeth and stared at Hawkeye. He is obviously not interested in himself now. If possible, Buggy doesn't want to get involved with such a guy. But there is no way. It is called the heavens should not, and the earth is not working. Hawkeye is his only hope. Eagle Eye. Buggy took a deep breath and flew towards Hawkeye. He stroked his chin. You want to know where that marine is going, right? Although Buggy's current strength is average, he is after all someone who has seen big winds and waves. He has seen a lot of warrior psychology like Eagle Eye. To say that Hawkeye doesn't want to compete with Suo Luo at all. He doesn't believe it. But, Hawkeye didn't take care of Buggy, but focused on making small rafts. Ahem. Actually, I heard about him when I was in Logue Town. I also know where he is going. Well, Hawkeye, as long as you take me out of here, as a trading condition, I will take you to find that marine, how about? Buggy deliberately remained calm, as if he really knew where Suo Luo was going. However, in fact, he didn't even know what Suo Luo was called. But no matter how you say it, there is no loss to Hawkeye with Buggy. In addition, he was eager to fight, so after hearing this trading condition, he glanced at Buggy meaningfully. Finally, Hawkeye nodded. It is better to have a general direction than to know nothing. And, if everything goes well and you encounter a pirate ship, you might be able to go around in front of Suo Luo. In this way, Hawkeye and Buggy hit it off, ready to chase Suo Luo. At the same time, in the other direction of the sea, the Monka riot caused Garp to delay the 153 branch for 2 more days, and Monka got an axe. But overall, he has gained a lot this time. I got 2 good disciples, Kirby and Balloon. After subduing Monka, Garp returned to the headquarters. Today is also a sunny day. Garp stood on the deck of the warship, facing the sea breeze, looking towards the endless sea. The wound cut by Monka has begun to heal. Now he is in a very happy mood. Card, Garp Vice Admiral. However, at this moment, a marine soldier hurriedly ran up to him, his face extremely pale and his tone of voice irritable. Oh no, an enemy attack was found ahead. The marine soldier was breathless and reported. Just now, he detected an incomparably majestic sword aura, which was approaching their warship. Menacing. This level of attack, even the elite of their headquarters, hasn't seen it much. For a while, the nervousness was so extreme that he had to seek Garp's help. And the most incredible thing is, they didn't even notice the enemy. I only saw the enemy's attack. Is there such a thing? Garp blinked vigorously, only to feel that what the marine soldier said was a little mysterious. Go. Garp made a sound, let the marine soldier lead the way, and stepped towards the bow of the ship. Soon, the calm warship was like an ant that had blown up the pot. Hundreds of marine soldiers temporarily dropped their work and gathered on the deck. In a short while, hundreds of marine soldiers gathered on the bow deck, looking in the same direction. The huge sword energy is as exaggerated as hundreds of meters, and it is coming fiercely, setting off turbulent waves, and approaching the warship. The scariest thing is, wherever the sword gas went, it cut the sea directly, unfathomably deep, exposing the uneven bottom of the sea immediately. Many Marines watched with binoculars, and they were shocked to the extreme. And the most incredible thing is, no matter how they observed, they couldn't find anyone who released this sword energy. What a strong slash. Rao is Garp, who is known as the marine hero, and he is stunned at this time. He never dreamed that he would encounter such a terrifying slash in this sea area. Who is the other party? Golden Lion Shiki, or the guy Whitebeard? For a while, Garp couldn't help but think of these old-time powerhouses. Correct. I received information that Hawkeye was hunting pirates in East Blue. Could it be that guy? At this moment, Garp's confidant, Colonel Pokatu, couldn't help but recall the news he had received before, and link the slash to Hawkeye. In his opinion, the only person who can wield such a terrifying sword spirit today is the Eagle Eye who bears the world's largest swordsman. Hawkeye Mihawk. Garp frowned. To him, Hawkeye was considered a junior kid. But no matter what, Garp couldn't think of a more suitable person. After the Golden Lion Shiki escaped from Impel Down, he disappeared. If Whitebeard had come to East Blue, Sengoku would have been uncomfortable and told himself to go back. Ha 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 ha. After thinking about it, Garp also thought it should be the Eagle Eye guy, and couldn't help laughing. The kid of the new age, hello to the old man. Come on then. In an instant, Garp stepped on one foot. In order to prevent the warship from being affected, he stepped directly out of the moonwalk and took the initiative to meet the 100-meter-high sword energy. Next second, Garp's right hand was dyed black by the burst of armament Haki, and he hit the sword chi with a violent punch. Boom! There was a loud noise like thunder on a clear day, deafening. Immediately afterwards, a terrifying air current swept over in all directions, setting off waves of several meters long, and beating them out. The huge marine warship is like a small boat, swaying on the sea. Poor and helpless, and Garp's face changed drastically, and his eyes were bigger than those of a donkey. As the swordsmanship of that little devil that Yingyan is so strong. Garp was shocked in his heart. He wanted to break this sword energy with a punch, but found out after a strong collision. This sword aura is stronger than what I imagined. Suo Luo swam in the sea for 2 full days following the guide of the permanent pointer. What makes him feel depressed is that in these 2 days, he hasn't even touched a pirate ship. According to Suo Luo's original idea, this world is called One Piece, naturally because there are so many pirates here, and they are even so powerful that they can build a country. Confronted with naval headquarters, although the pirate power of East Blue is the weakest in the world, it is a large sea area anyway. From here, there should be many pirate groups heading to the Grand Line. How can you meet 1 or 2? At that time, relying on your own strength to snatch 1 or 2 pirate ships, isn't it easy? Result, Suo Luo, a pirate group, didn't even come across it. Soon, the Crimson Continent came into Suo Luo's eyes, and one of the ocean currents went from bottom to top, forming a very spectacular scenery. This should be the rumored ocean current, Suo Luo thought to himself. Although he has been in this world for more than 9 years, he has never left Logue Town. Seeing such a scene now, I feel a little shocked in my heart. Of course, as a traverser, Suo Luo still has a certain degree of understanding of the world. For example, the mountain range in front of you. As far as Suo Luo knows, this is the first intersection of the Red Line and the Grand Line. There are a total of 5 waterways on the mountain, forming an X shape, with ocean currents flowing in and out. 4 of them rushed to the top of the mountain, converging in one place, and their starting points were connected to the 4 seas. The last ocean current rushes to the entrance of the Grand Line. Now Suo Luo is located at the mouth of the East Blue Ocean, as long as he swims through here. It is considered to officially enter the Grand Line. Call. Suo Luo took a deep breath and started to forge ahead. He has been in the sea for 2 days and 2 nights. Even with the mentality of swimming to Marineford with a big deal at first, Suo Luo can't help but miss the hotbed on the patrol ship when he really does. However, after officially entering the ocean current, the turbulent sea rushed Suo Luo frantically. Even if you don't do anything, you can move forward at a fast speed. In just 10 minutes, Suo Luo followed the ocean current to the top of the mountain, and then pouring down. If they were replaced by someone else, they would have been buried here long ago. But soon, a tall wall blocked Suo Luo's path. That is. Suo Luo's eyes narrowed slightly, and he quickly recalled. Right at the only exit of Upside Down Mountain, the whale Laboon has been waiting for Brook to return. At the same time, One Piece Roger's ship doctor, Crocus, is also here. Wait, Crocus. Since Crocus can always take care of Laboon in this place, it means that he has access to the outside world. Even food, Crocus can be self-sufficient. But things like drugs, this guy can't make it himself, right? Thinking of this, Suo Luo immediately jumped from the sea and landed on Laboon's back impartially. Boom! Suo Luo stood firm on Laboon's back, looked around, and found the door that could lead directly to Laboon's belly. It's really dark here. Walking in the long corridor, Suo Luo did not forget to complain about the environment here. Now he can't help but start to doubt his daily life in Logue Town. But this did not last long. There was a map here, and within a short while, Suo Luo walked to the exit and pushed hard with both hands. Everything is as in his memory. Also, Laboon's body has a different kind of world. The dark green gastric juice is like seawater, and there is a very pleasant island in the center area. Coupled with 2 days and 2 nights in the upper reaches of the sea, there is no food to satisfy your hunger. Suo Luo's belly couldn't help but began to grunt. He rubbed his stomach a little, and couldn't take much care of it. With a hard kick on one foot, he jumped to the island in one step with his amazing explosive power. Boom! A muffled explosion exploded, causing the island to shake. 2 or 3 could not breathe, and a bald uncle in a red shirt walked out of the only house on the island. It is Crocus. Marine. Crocus blinked. During his years of guarding Laboon, he has often encountered pirates here, but Marine is rare. Anything to eat. Suo Luo turned to look at Crocus, and said without thinking, I need some food, fresh water, and a sailboat. Crocus. What is this attitude and tone of voice? Does he think he is some kind of shop owner? And also, I have indeed met many people here, but Marine, who is as calm as Suo Luo, is still the first. And he was not surprised at all when he saw himself. At any rate, he was also the person on the original pirate King Roger's ship. Still, the current Marine has not paid attention to the famous pirates of the old age. Wrong. What's the reason for this desire to attract attention? There were so many slots that Crocus didn't even know where to start complaining. Never mind. Seeing that Marine's system has been soaked, I must have suffered a lot. Your boat must have crashed and sunk while passing the Upside Down Mountain, right? Crocus walked back to the room, took out some ready-to-eat cans, and fresh water, and threw it to Suo Luo, while chatting casually. In any case, a person guards the whale. Although Laboon says that life is easy, it is also a bit boring. People always need to communicate. When passing the Upside Down Mountain, if the helmsman is slightly improper, it will be the result of the ship's destruction. Presumably, those companions of Suo Luo also encountered the same disaster, but they did not survive. That's why Suo Luo is emotionally numb. Even if I saw myself, I was not surprised. For a while, Crocus couldn't help but sympathize with Suo Luo, but it's always a life, didn't it? But who knows, after Suo Luo took the can, he sat on the ground and chewed slowly. It's not like a person who has passed through life and death. On the contrary, Suo Luo's attitude is very calm. He glanced up at Crocus, and replied very casually. No, I came here from swimming, there is no boat. I was going to go swimming directly, forget it, don't mention it. Suo Luo wanted to talk about his experience, but after thinking about it, he still didn't say it. On the contrary, Crocus, after hearing Suo Luo's explanation, stood still on the spot in a daze. What the hell? This kid in front of you came from swimming. From Upside Down the Mountain. That Upside Down Mountain that left countless pirate boats dead without a place to bury their bodies. Come on, just kidding. That kind of thing, at least a monster of the level of Rayleigh, is it possible to do it? What's the matter with this Marine in front of me? What is his background? Aren't you here to arrest me? For a moment, Crocus couldn't help asking cautiously. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.